ENC Forum is coming out with the first physical seminar, our first physical KSS session here. And I hope with all your support, ENC Forum will continue to do this every month, bringing at least one speaker every month to introduce the technology to the PMI Chennai chapter. Welcome, Mr. Tulsiram.
Good morning, handsome gentlemen, and a few beautiful ladies here. My name is Tulsira. I'm very proud to stand here today. It's more than 25 years after which I'm coming to IIT Chennai because of you people. So first, my gratitude for welcoming me here. I was a student here before, and today I'm standing here as a guest. So I am so immensely happy of standing here. My gratitude for 1 hour that you want to do, 1 hour of your life that you want to devote for me. I'll try my best so that you take home whatever is possible that I learned for last 20 years in next 1 hour. I promise you that I know that we are all from different disciplines. Therefore, what I did is my lecture duration in any organization, any government institutions or any organization is 2 hours minimum. Mr. Ravi said me that he will give me only 45 minutes. Therefore, what I did now is I made this presentation suitable for 45 minutes, where I touch very little of electrical and rest all disciplines to the extent possible. So when we are living out from this seminar, we have an overall idea about what is a GS substation, what are the advantages, disadvantages, what is offshore of the GS substation. We have an overall idea about it. Am I audible? Yes, so my introduction is already done. Therefore, let us start with the duration of time given to me. My father's statement. My father is he worked as a foreman in nuclear power corporation. He used to always tell me only one thing: the biggest thing in the world is to share the knowledge. And there's a beautiful quote that he used to always say. He says that Tulsi, if you're in an organization where whatever you learned for 20 years, the junior with you is going to learn the same knowledge in 20 years, you should not be in that organization. You have failed already in your profession. His statements are very clear. He used to say that whatever you gain, give it to the world as soon as possible back, so that people have more time to learn new things. For first thing is, kill your ego. For this was a very big lesson for me. I've been trying to follow this to the extent possible. So fine, with this particular proverb, let us go to the topic. Now there will be only 2 things that's specific to electrical. Rest all common. One is this particular chart. See, this is a chart that just says what are the clearance that need to be maintained in an outdoor substation. Outdoor substation we must have seen everywhere. I'll also I'll visualize, I'll show you everything, how it's going to look. See, this chart, I don't want you to think anything. I just wanted you to remember this number 1.1. 132 kV, 1.1. Just 1.1 meters is nothing but so much of me. Fine. Just remember this dimension. Don't remember anything of this chart. It's not required anymore. Now, how many of us have seen an outdoor substation? Right? Let us see it if we have not seen it now. We'll visualize it right now. Sorry, go to the previous one. Yeah. This is an outdoor substation. I wanted you to just visualize it. Don't do anything. Don't use your mind. I wanted you to just see. That's it. I wanted you to just see how voluminous it is. How voluminous it is. I don't want you to think anything more than that. Just see how big it is. It is a 400 kV bar, 220 kV substation. 400 kV is an one-and-a-half breaker scheme, and 220 kV is a double bus system. Just see, nothing more. We are not going to do anything with it. I wanted you to see how equipments are spaced. You can see there is a specific compulsory rule that we need to follow to space the equipments. Just see that, that's it. Now I'm going to say you something. If I'm going to say you that this whole thing that you're seeing now, which is minimum 3 times a football court, can be brought within this room. That's the technology that we are talking about. Okay, the whole thing that we are seeing now can be brought into this particular room. Okay, fine. Now this is the animation of an outdoor substation. The major thing that you have to remember is it is an outdoor substation, therefore air is the insulator. Simple, only one point. Now this is your real-time view of the substation. Whatever we saw previously was an animation. Now this is a truly a 400 kV substation. Again, I wanted you to just see how voluminous it is. You have a lot of equipments in electrical in a particular substation. You have an isolator, you have a VT, you have a current transformer, you have a voltage, you have power transformers, disconnector switches, circuit breakers. All those things are staggered for some particular reasons. Now the question is, I said you we are using air as an insulator. This is the first point that we learned today, air as an insulator. Now we saw that a particular substation is so voluminous. I promised you saying that the whole substation can be brought within this particular room. Both the substation that we saw, it can be brought within this room. Now, what is the thing that we need to do to bring it into this particular room? This first, air is used as an insulator. Can air be replaced with any other gas? This is the first question. If gas is able to meet the requirement of whatever air is doing, we can replace air with gas. Okay. Now, let that be remain as a separate subject. Now, now coming to this particular thing, I was saying you that we have all the equipment staggered in a particular place and kept in a different locations for a specific purpose. You cannot bring them together for any reason. Suppose someone is coming back to us saying that no, I want to optimize the substation. Okay, let me bring down the IEC clearances, whatever is mentioned before. I showed you a dimension before, 1.3 meters, I said you. Right? Someone is coming back saying, no, 132 kV substation, 1.3 meters is not required. Let me squeeze it and bring it to 1 meter. Now what happens that time? Can you see that? Now what happens if the clearances recommended is not followed in an outdoor substation? Okay, pa? Now the distance between connectors here is 1 meter. It has to be 1.3 meters. We are making it to 1 meter, thinking that we can optimize the dimension of a substation. What happens in a substation? Now this is what happens into a substation. If you try to optimize the dimensions that is already given to us. See, if I say that no, 1.3 is not required, I'll make it 1.2, or I'll make it 1.25. Right? What happens? This is what happens. Your equipments cannot stand the forces of short circuit. When there's a short circuit happening in the system, the equipments will break or the whole substation will dismantle.
What is the reason for this failure?
The clearance is not met.
That I understand.
Yes.
Main reason.
The technical reason is the short circuit current that is flowing during a fault designed for the particular substation. Right? When it flows, this particular dimension that is reduced and kept cannot meet the particular requirement. Therefore, the equipments fail. The force will cause the conductors to split. The force will cause the equipments in the substation to move away or even blast. Because all the equipments in the substation are fixed. A force is coming in, what happens? It cannot withstand. That's what happens. Now, coming to this is the only graph that I'm going to show you. We're not going to talk about any graphs anywhere in this program. Now, I said to you, if air is going to be replaced with SF6 gas, right? We're going to talk about a gas that's going to maintain the properties of air in other ways, superior qualities, better than air. We're going to maintain a particular gas. If you see here, nothing much to be learned from here. Just see whatever I'm trying to say you. This is air. Air during atmospheric pressure For 10 mm, it can take a 25 kV voltage for 10 mm. Now, if we go to talk about a gas called SF6, the same SF6 gas at atmospheric pressure will take around 60 kV voltage. Now, the real story starts. 60 kV is nothing for us to work on. What we do is, this particular gas has a property that if you start increasing the pressure of the gas, its breakdown strength increases. You see that we are increasing the pressure of this particular gas. It was initially 1 bar. We are increasing the pressure to 5 bar. You see the gas is going up straight. Same 10 mm now can take a voltage of 240 kV. You get me, guys? What are we trying to do is, if the same gas is pressurized, we can see that its electrical characteristics are becoming much more superior than in under atmospheric conditions. Therefore, now what we are going to do is, this 240 kV of voltage that it can withstand for 10 mm. We are talking about 10 mm, 1 centimeter. The gas can take 240 kV for 10 mm of spacing we are talking about. You get me, guys? Now, this is a magic gas. What we're going to do next is, all the equipments that we have been seeing till now in the outer substation, we're going to put them into an almara, fill it with this gas. Okay, guys? Now, how does that look? Now, this is a GS bay filled with SF6 gas. All your components of an outdoor substation still remain the same. We are putting them into an almara type, filling them with SF6 gas. You get me, guys? Now, this is the way how GS substations are built. GS module is nothing but a module, or you take it as a compartment where all your equipments that is required for a substation are put within. Whatever equipments I'm talking about are circuit breaker, isolators, disconnector switch, surge arresters, CTs, everything is in this. Fill it with gas, maintain it more than 5 bar. This is the reason why all GES manufacturers maintain the pressure more than 6 bar. Okay, what was I initially talking to you was in an outdoor substation. I said, remember the distance, 1.3 meters. Here, okay, for an outdoor substation, if so much is the distance required between the two conductors, here the requirement is 5 centimeters. You get me? 5 centimeters. 1.3 meters is there and 5 centimeters is there. You get me? Fine. Now let me introduce you to the first GS. It clearly highlights the different components within the GS as like an outdoor substation. not remember anything, just go through it. That's it. This is what I wanted you to see. 0.8 meters. When we spoke about an outdoor substation, this distance of width was 12 meters. From here to here it was 50 meters, 50. And from here to here it was 21 meters. Okay guys, now this is the reason how we made the whole substation as minimum dimension as possible. Now this is the way it looks. Now suppose this, you need to commission this, nothing, you go to order this, bring it, install it, commission it. It's not like an outdoor substation where you need to do all the big processes that is really required. All your equipments or components are already within it. You got to just bring this cupboard, do the pre-commissioning works, check it, see it's functional, turn it on, leave. Okay guys? Now this is the, you can see further. Like you'll be having an idea, say, we cannot do an outdoor substation in a sea, at sea. Suppose we'll be using this sort of switch case at sea. Being so compact, it can be put anywhere. Your car parking, it can be put in any mountain area, it can be put in any harsh environment other than the water. It's not being still tested to be being put below the water. Just every environment is okay. Do you want to see a 800 kV GS? Just visual, right? I wanted you to just see how compact it is. Now we should remember 2 points. One, Chennai is having its 800 kV GS at Ennur thermal power plant. And India is the only country which is having a 1200 kV GS. No country in the world is having a 1200 kV GS. We are the only country having 1200 kV GS. And we are now transmitting all the voltages in India at 800 kV level. That's the reason Ennur power plant was brought into this particular category where 800 kV GS was installed. See, the basic reason if you see here, ICT being because of its compactness, right? It can be put anywhere. If you see Thiruvamur is having a 132 kV GS, Indi is having a 132 kV GS, Koturpuram is having a 220 kV GS. You cannot even see where it is. It's just going to be a room. You want to put them inside. Till someone says there's a substation within. No. I worked in an underground substation, 132 kV GS. Nothing will be seen. Above it will be a playground. The whole substation was below. When any equipment damage or something happens, we need to remove the above top layer, access the substation below. Okay guys? Fine. Let us see this 800 kV GS just for your knowledge purpose. Just see how small it is.
these towers?
Oh, they are bushings, outdoor bushings. Bushings to bring the incoming line.
Okay.
The GIS. Now, this is what I have seen to you. The equivalent of 145 kV air insulator substations and its related GIS substation. You can see how compact they become. It was initially requiring 50 meters by 85 meters. This requires just 6.5 meters by 8.6 meters. Now this is an 245 kV. Same comparison, 61.5 meters by 137 meters. We require only 8.1 meters, 14.5 meters. You get me, guys? Now, okay, fine. These things we can take. I'll give you the presentation. You can see them. Huh? Nothing. It's just advantages and disadvantages. Now, this is an indoor GS substation. This is onshore. It's not offshore. It's on land. Huh? Therefore, you make the concrete floor. Make it ready. Put your first GS cubicle. This is one bay. We are talking about one bay installed already there. We are installing the 28 bays into the same thing. Now, the next part of this seminar, offshore substations. Right? Now we have an idea about what we are doing as a how GS substations are handled onshore that we have seen. Now we are going to talk about a topic where if the substation has to be put in sea, what do we do? Now how many of us are from oil and gas here? Fine. Therefore, this is going to be more interesting to you. This is the environment that you face in sea. This is a semi-submergible platform. We call it as a tension lift platform. It is supported from shore bed. A substation cannot be put in such a platform because it continuously keeps moving. Okay, but I wanted to show you this because wherever you put the substation tomorrow, at this sea, it is going to encounter these conditions. Storm is a routine thing there. Hurricanes are routine things there. Oil and gas majorly faces these challenges. How do you put a substation there? How do you put an equipment there? How do you put a platform there? Believe me, when I went to for a offshore visit, it was a time where a helicopter could not come. It was because of a bad condition. I landed there, but my return got postponed by 2 days. Believe me, I didn't. It happened that I didn't leave any god from praying. I prayed, of course, every god there, because the environment is like this. It was in a hurricane, and moreover, we are responsible for the designing of such platforms. Ravi is here. Other person is also here. Therefore, these people will be saying more about offshore platforms. What am I trying to say is the environment there is so corrosive, so harsh, unexpected. So I used to always say, send a person who does not believe God to this place. Probably he'll invent a new God. This is what I used to always say. He will probably invent a new God. Therefore, this is the harsh conditions that we face in offshore. Okay, now these are the different departments that are involved in anything that we do in an offshore. All these people.
One quick question.
Yeah, please, sir.
The one you showed before, it's for transmitting the power from
No.
between countries.
No. Offshore platforms cannot be put in this way. The reason being is it's moving, and you cannot connect your cables below.
Okay.
That was shown to just give you the environment of offshore. Okay. Offshore platforms, substations need to be supported only on a fixed platform. Okay. This platform moves. Fixed platform does not move. I'll show you that next.
Okay. Because in the wind turbine, they have the in the sea, right? So the cable runs from the turbine all the way to the nearest shore.
There are
I
two
was
types.
wondering you are having this station also there.
No, it's not like that. No. So wind turbines still now are two types are there. One is fixed wind turbines, one is floating wind turbines. Fixed wind turbines, you don't have any issues. Whatever substation that we're going to talk now is are fixed substations. So there is no movement there. But of course, the question is about floating wind farms. The research, see, it has not been fully approved till now, sir, because of a lot of issues in it. This is a major issue. You cannot have a cable that moves like this at any point of time. If there's any sort of flexibility, yes, it's possible, but cables cannot come with that flexibility. Moreover, it is a submarine cable. Once it goes, it's gone. Therefore, okay, I'll take up that question. Next one. Yeah.
More than that, the GIS foundation need to be at a very fixed level.
Yes,
Zero
yes, yes,
difference.
yes.
Otherwise, it is not possible.
It's not possible. Yes. So these are the different people involved. See, when I talk about a GIS substation, it is not only a substation there. We have other equipments a part of what do you call it? A substation that supports the GIS. Okay, all these things: submarine cables, reactors, transformers, switchgears, MCCs, DGs, DC system, UPS, transformers, SCADA, all these things are a part of a substation. Now, before what we do is, first we design the substation. Okay, we design the substation and we make a 3D model out of it. Now, I will show you a 3D model of a substation. This is a 3D model of a substation. Show you again. Now, one thing that you should have noted here is, civil people don't have an opportunity in offshore because we don't use any concrete anywhere. Structural people, process are the most favorite people there. People like me come and go in intermediate, but these two people sitting here, they are the main people, more like structural. Structural process guys play a vital role in offshore substations. Offshore works. Substation is okay. People like me come and go, and they are the permanent people there. Okay, fine. Coming to this particular thing, you first develop to do all your design works, create a substation, and whatever you saw that was the model of a substation that need to come up on a seabed. Okay, guys. Now we will see what is the next one. Now, how a substation, the same model that we saw, we will see how it is being constructed. It is again a graphic view. We use only steel, nothing other than steel in an offshore environment. These are the things that subsequently we plan, how it has to be executed. All your equipments will have their own prominent places within them. Your transformers, reactors, whatever so they are. You have a heli deck also for people to come and go. So it will be having your UPS, you will have a DC system, EDGs, your battery chargers, battery banks, SCADA, PSA, your instrumentation system, firefighting system, safety system. Sorry, I did something wrong. Substation at sea, the weight will be around 3,000 tons to 8,000 tons. If it's going to be a huge substation, it will be around 12,000 tons. So this has to be moved to sea. Next.
Assembly is done onshore or offshore?
Everything onshore. Everything we completed here, then we take it up to. I'll show you all those things now. Next one. This is the question that you are asking. This is a fixed platform here. It does not move for any situation. this is a real-time substation. All these things that we saw as an animation, projections. Now I'll show you a real-time substation. How it is constructed. There's actually a production platform. I cannot get a substation, but I brought you a similar one. There's a production platform. So this is the a fixed jacket that's being constructed that will be on the sea floor, over which your substation will sit. This one, sir? It will come in this starting with this file. There'll be some explanations made. I'll give you this file. It's somewhere in Netherlands, because they do it in indoor. Dubai does it in outdoor. The height is around 5 to 6 storage building. You can see the people below. You know the quantum of dimension of it. Once it's done, you move it to the large. These are the, we call them as jackets. These are the fixed locations on which the substation or a platform will be sitting. Now it is on the barge. You take the barge to the location where it has to be installed, where the substation or the things have to be installed. Now this is an 132 kV substation, GAS. It is 11 base GAS. It is just it is sitting within an what do you call it? It is sitting within a substation on an offshore platform. It is again 11 bay. You can just see how small it is. This is one of the offshore. This is a substation being constructed. It's ready. You have a barge here. You take it onto the barge, take it to the place where it has to go. It is on the barge now. Okay, guys? Now, you want to see a documentary on the whole substation? See, every file is 3 to 2 minutes, not more than that.
Late 2015, an extraordinary project neared its completion. Two offshore high-voltage substations for the Gemini offshore wind park were installed offshore. The Gemini wind park consists of 150 turbines, equally divided over the twin locations Buitenplaats and Zee-Energie. The wind park is located in the Dutch North Sea, 85 kilometers off the coast of Holland, and is invisible from shore. With a capacity of 600 megawatts and a production of 2.6 terawatts per hour, Gemini's performance is truly astonishing. It will supply 785,000 households of renewable energy, and a CO2 reduction of 1,250,000 tons every year. EMAS was, together with two partners, selected by Van Oort for the construction of the two offshore high-voltage substations for the Gemini offshore wind
There's a jacket and the substation above it.
in charge of the design, engineering and fabrication of the steel structure. two substation topsides and jackets. The prefabrication of the topside steel structures took place at the Iwans and Smulders facilities in Belgium and Poland. Both topsides were assembled at the yard of our JV partner in Hoboken. Topsides require efficiency both in its construction and in its final consumption and treatment of energy. Safety also plays a key role.
Safety is very important at EMAS. Safety for us is a state of mind, not only for EMAS, but also for our employees, our client, and the wind farm developer.
In July 2015, both topsides were ready for loadout and were successfully loaded onto the barge. 1 month later, the topsides for Belgian parts and CNE left the Hoboken dock to begin their journey on the Scheldt towards the offshore path. Simultaneously with the construction of the topsides, the two jacket foundations were constructed and assembled at the Iwans yard in Vlissingen, the Netherlands. In July 2015, the two jackets left the yard to be transported to their final destination in the Dutch North Sea. Both topsides.
Now this is what we saw. I said to you before. We make the offshore substations separately. Jackets are the part that's going to sit on the sea floor. Once you finish your works, you're going to take it through a barge to the sea, put the jackets, pile them to this, the shore base so that it does not move. Take the platform, keep it up over it. When your substation is now ready, you bring in the submarine cables, whatever fluid is required, charge it, the station is ready. Okay, guys? Now before this will be my last slide for you. Last video on it. See, there are two types of substations in offshore. One is an HVAC substation and one is an HVDC substation. Now, why do we go for an HVAC substation? Places where the wind farms or the potential location of the oil production facilities are around 100 kilometers from the sea shore. We go for AC. If it is going to be more than that, AC will not be suitable because of huge losses happening. Therefore, what we do is, whatever energy that we get from the wind farms, that is around 100 kilometers away from the shore, we convert them into DC and pass it on to the shore. Okay, guys? And this is one particular place. I'm just going to give you a highlight about only a DC substation here. After this will be my last video for you to wind up this particular session. Okay, guys? Let us see the last video now.
Is HVDC a new technology compared to HVAC?
Sir, HVAC is for people like Aramco, clients like Aramco, where the amount of power in the land is surplus. They're pumping the supply from land to the shore. Okay, sir, because we have enough power at the land. Now, when people in Europe, they have already signed for low carbon emissions. But what is their intention now? They wanted to wind up all their nuclear power plants, thermal power plants. They wanted to enhance the wind energy.
I understood like the distance factor you're saying.
That is a major factor, sir. Because more than 100 kilometers, AC transmission will create huge losses, both financially as well as technically. So what we do there is, more than 100 kilometers, we fetch the AC supply, convert it to DC, and pass it on to the land. When it comes to DC, the losses are minimum or negligible.
So can we say like when you are using renewable energy to generate power, you are using HVDC?
No, not like that. No. If it is very close to the shore, say like let us assume 70 kilometers, we still transmit only AC. More than 100 kilometers, we convert AC to DC and transmit the DC. Now this is the DC substation that we want to see now. Okay, but now what is the difference between AC and DC substation? DC substation is over and above the AC substation. You have an AC substation, attached to it will be a DC substation. Because here you won't bring AC power, convert it into DC, send it out.
When we send power from shore to offshore platform, we typically do it AC only, right?
Yes, sir. AC. AC.
Then normally we don't convert it to DC, send it to offshore, then.
No, we don't do it. We don't do it in that way. So we are talking more about two scenarios. One is the excess power here, we are sending it off through AC supply, AC to offshore. Here what is happening in Europe, the potential availability of wind energy is so high, and they are not so close to the shore. They are very far from the shore, more than 100 kilometers. What they do therefore is convert them. They see whatever energy that you're going to get from wind turbines are going to be only AC, no doubt in it. Therefore, what we're going to do, we're going to step that AC up. Use a DC station, convert that AC to DC, send it to the shore. Here we again reconvert it from DC to AC, connect it to the grid. Now this will give you a full idea. The whole thing will be shown here. Europe, yes, not in Middle East. Their prominency is only in Europe. They are closing down their nuclear power plants. They are closing down their thermal power plants. They are going for zero carbon emissions. This is the AC transmission from offshore wind to land. Now the DC transmission. From all different places, you bring it to one common station, HVDC substation. This is HVAC substation, HVDC together with it. Fine. I'll take up your questions. You have any questions? Then, if you have any questions, we'll go for it. Yes, yes, sir. Please go ahead.
First of all, thank you very much for making it so interesting.
Oh.
It is so complicated and difficult. You deserve a big applause. Thank you very much. Okay. And now my question is,
Yes, sir.
Let us assume a component, the below deck, has gone bad, and that requires replacement. And for that, the above deck needs to be cut open, and the equipments which are the above deck, those are also to be removed. And these offshore platforms are 80, 90, 100, 150, 200 kilometers away from the shore. How do they manage?
Sir, offshore platforms, sir, are we talking about a substation or a general one, sir?
I'm talking about the
Substation.
Substation.
Fine. Sir, substation is saying that if there's a scenario where the under deck there's an issue, there's a below deck where there's an issue, and the substation is in the top floor of it. Now, how do we manage this particular situation? So, when we talk about a substation, sir.
Before you go, let me draw a parallel.
Yes, sir.
Same thing happens with ship, but then ships are in dry dock, and space is available, arrangements are there, you can cut open, remove it there, here, remove, it is very easy and simple. You don't have that flexibility at shore.
Perfect, sir.
That is where the question is coming from.
Fine, sir. Sir, GIS, okay, now let us talk about a problem that's happening within the GIS, sir. If there is a fault within the GIS, sir, first, SF6 gas is an in non-flammable gas. Therefore, there is no issue of any sort of flammable issue coming up into the GIS. Okay, sir? Point number one. Now we are talking about the next scenario. Let us assume a power transformer burns down. Like what you are saying, a power transformer is burning down. Now, in the design of an offshore substation, we keep all the things that is going to be, that has the chances of fire or that needs to a chance to be replaced on the top deck. Okay, so we don't put it below. Therefore, anything that happens there, happens there. Okay, sir. Yes, your question is now how are we going to handle it? If a power transformer burns there, if a power transformer is going for a blast or it's burning down due to some reasons, your dilute system operates. We will switch off the entire platform, sir. We will switch off the entire platform. Nothing can be done. You have all this controls from this particular substation going to the remote. We can monitor the entire substation from remote. For any accidental scenario that happens there, the whole power supply to the system will be cut off. Okay, sir. And the answer I gave you in the other way around is anything that is flammable, we keep it at the top floors. We don't bring it to the down floors.
Thank you, thank you.
Just to add,
Tulsi, good morning.
Maintainability is typically taken care for all offshore facilities.
No, the point he has answered is taken care at the design stage itself.
Yeah, we take care of it. So many things
that always happens for all offshore platforms.
Lot of studies are there, sir.
Not only GIS, but even other equipment also we have to take out. That will be taken care of.
I always used to think, but then it never struck to me that it is taken care at the design stage so that you don't have this hassle.
Typically, there will be a maintainability review done, RAM assessments and all will be done, backup will be done, so it will be taken care of.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the difference between putting a substation in Europe, where whatever we are talking of wind farms, this and any other place is wind farms. You don't have any hazardous environment around. It is an open and non-hazardous. So when we talk about offshore environments, that what Ravi was talking and we are talking now. Offshore environments are prone to all the gases there. Therefore, there are a lot of studies, HAZAP, where we do all the studies to see what will be its impact. If any one equipment fails, what is the next remedy that we need to take? All those things we do study on it, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Tulsi, good morning. Couple of observations.
Yes, sir.
Before I launch on to my question.
Yes, sir.
See, this whole thing is a shocking subject, electrical engineering, and thanks for insulating us from the gory details of all those things. Second thing, you are worried about a 2-hour module getting reduced into a 45 minutes thanks to PMI. But again, electrical engineering condensers, and you are a super condenser, I should say.
Oh my God. I take this over.
Third, big round of applause to you. Third, we can't leave this pandemic context. Right? Pandemic talks of social distancing, outdoor is safer, etc. You prove that in outdoor, whatever is 1.3 meters could be brought indoor to a few centimeters. Now I launch on to my question. It is heartening to know that India is the first country to be dealing with 1200 kV transmission. Vague recall from my electrical engineering days tells me that in the whole subject of engineering, transmission is the greatest challenge, power losses, etc. I mean, it's a phenomenal achievement. Why are we not celebrating it in a big way? That is a different question. But if other countries, are they lagging behind? Is there an opportunity for us to export this technology? And last, related to it, how much of energy is saved or how much of electricity is saved? How much it helps in terms of sustainability and all those kinds of things? Because if you are able to transmit at 1200 kV, I'm sure it should have a big impact compared to an 800 kV. So that's it from my side. You may answer.
Sir, is there a chance that I can answer your question after the seminar? It's better I go back to my
We can have
home.
the filter coffee and the answer.
The reason is I don't have the answer to your question, sir. I'm really sorry about it. I don't have an answer to your question. So, well, let me dig into it, and I'll pass on the documents to you, sir. Let me dig into it. I really don't have the answer to your question.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for that.
My hearty greetings to you once again for making it easy.
Thank you, sir.
One addition to, as an answer, it's not the exact answer I would say.
look, any power generation which is happening, even in India, today we are generating almost like 3.9 lakh megawatt of energy. But the transmission lines are today maximum of 400 kV. So, and most of the rural transmission, even urban transmission, is very low capacity, 33 kV and 11 kV. This 33 kV and 11 kV is producing almost 33% of transmission loss. So if you look at 3.9 lakh megawatt of energy generation, that's a capacity in India. But every power plant has got its own operating efficiency. So if you take conventional thermal power, it comes to only 60-65%, and availability factor is like about 80%. And if you go to renewable energy sources, it's all 10 to 15% efficiency, and nuclear power plants are 80%. So putting all together, on an average, you get about 40 to 45% of the real power available to us. So if you take 4 lakh, megawatt, install capacity, you get almost 2 lakh megawatt only is available. In that 2 lakh megawatt, 33% goes as a transmission loss. So what is available for our use is hardly anything. So these kind of systems which are converting from air-based substations to gas-based substations is going to increase the capacity of transmission, which will drastically reduce the transmission loss. And it is estimated even if you go 800 kV, the transmission loss is going to come to about 10% or less. So we are going to save about 25% of transmission loss by going for a higher capacity.
Any more questions that you have? Or we'll
Sir,
go to the final one? Yeah, please.
For the traditional transmission and the GS based transmission, what are same, different or not same?
No.
The reason is the traditional or whatever right now we have.
No, the GS, I think one thing you need to tell us, what is this substation and why is it required in the entire network? See, just to give a glimpse, because many of them are not from electrical background, I believe. See, we generate a power, and the power has to be transmitted to wherever we want to. Okay, and the substations are like collecting the power from the generation and pushing it to the grid through the transmission towers. Okay, and in that collection and pushing it only, this substation is going to help us. These substations, when it is going to be occupying such a big area, a lot of processes are involved. Your maintenance and operational and maintenance issues are there, and there is a capacity restrictions when you are going for boosting of the from 132 kV to 400 kV or 700 kV or 800 kV or 1200 kV. There is a limitation on the air-based substations. That's why we move to gas-based substations. It's not only reducing the plan area, it is increasing the operational efficiency of the entire system. But if you ask me, suppose I am only changing the substation today, whether the network can take that load, no. Because the transmission network in and around any city or even across the states, it's all designed for today maximum 400 kV. If you switch over to 1200 kV, the entire PGCL has to convert entire network across India for a higher transmission network. So that is the biggest task. That is one of the question, like why we are not using it, because we are already established with a low capacity transmission network. Changing the entire network is going to have a huge impact on the PGCL job. That's why slowly there, all new power plants which are coming up in India, they are going for higher capacity, but again the transmission becomes a challenge.
Thank you very much. Any questions there? Yes, sir, please go ahead.
I'm from IT. So first of all, thanks for this fantastic presentation.
I feel blessed.
Yeah. So this is the first time I'm seeing. So how complex this kind of structure. How are you testing this? Because from IT we know we have different stage of testing. We have sample data. We can do testing with different environments. Then finally we can deploy in production. Even if something happens in production, still we can correct. We can correct. So constructing in the onshore and moving through barge, and you are installing in the offshore, and you are generating the electricity. How are you testing all these things? How success it will be? When there is a failure, how do you ensure there is no failure?
Sir, for regarding, okay, we are talking about generally about all the equipments, correct? Sir? Or only the GS?
No, everything is constructed.
Okay.
Now, so while constructing, you are testing everything, then you are moving to offshore
Correct.
and you are enabling,
Yes.
or only
No.
after installing your.
Sir, anything that we do at offshore is costly business, sir. Anything we do at offshore, because you need to access either through barge or through helicopter. Only two options are left with us. Therefore, whatever we do, any of the testing activities are completed at onshore. Okay, sir? The barges that we are going to procure, that we are going to use to transport, is being transported, it is used during a transit time, where there is the weather conditions fine, and all these things are taken care. Marine engineering's work is only this. We see to it that waves or whatever we call that could affect the barge is minimum during that particular transit time. Second thing is, once you bring it there, lift it and put it back in its particular place where it has to stay. You retest it there. There are tests that need to be done there. If something fails there, it needs to be replaced. Because our guarantee starts from the day it is commissioned fully at the offshore installation. It has to be tested here, it has to be retested there also.
How do you test that? What is the input that you are doing the testing?
Sir, every equipment has its own testing procedures. Every equipment has its own testing procedures that need to be re-implemented there. 90% we'll do it here, sir, in the shore. Any major flaws here, it will be replaced, or if the equipment has to be replaced, it will be replaced here itself.
Okay.
We complete everything here. Last 10% will be done there to see if during the transportation something has happened.
I can relate this question.
Yes, sir.
It is involved about a heavy current and all, right? How are you
Can I add?
I can answer
something?
that
Can I-
question. Just to everybody's interest, since you are coming from IIT, even in IIT Chennai, we have a marine division where all the structures are analyzed, tested. For example, fixed jackets, which he has shown earlier, it's operational already more than 50 years. The semi-submersible are the latest ones which is available on the docks, and even for those designing the semi-submersibles, we have testing available in the labs. We make the prototypes of the semi-submersible platforms, we do the wave analysis in the labs, we check how it performs, we evaluate, and then only we go to offshore. This is with respect to the structure. I believe I answered your question. Not only for this, even for floaters, you have seen it is semi-submersible because it is having a legs which is tension leg platform we say, which is connected to the foundation in the bottom of the sea. Nowadays, we are going even further up, floaters. Floaters means it is something similar to a ship, but having everything on the ship. An entire LNG platform is available now on a ship. LNG is traditionally an onshore business. Now we are able to do it even in offshore. There are a lot of around, if I'm not mistaken, as on today, there are 5 or 6 floaters, LNG floaters are there in the world. Even for that, we have testing methods and procedures before we go into offshore. When you come to small components within the platform or within the project, whatever you are talking about, each and every equipment subjected to factory acceptance test. We call it as FAT. We do everything onshore. We check both the vendor who is supplying the equipment, he will be there, the client will be there, and the contractor will be there. Everybody will do checklist, done, and then it will be boarded. But finally, there is one operation called mechanical completion. Mechanical completion is right before commission, before operationalization of the platform. During the mechanical completion, again everything will be tested for operational requirement. Then only it will be going for operations. So there are a lot of things behind the scenes happens before it becomes operationalized.
Thank you, sir. Actually, I wanted to ask how different departments are coming together to have the entire plan and how are you executing. I wanted to ask. But
Yeah,
you
he listed out already. There are about 10, 11 disciplines.
All engineering departments.
Yes. Other than the civil engineering department, rest all of us work together in a single
Yeah, just to add on to, there are even concrete platforms, but not in our area. It is in Norway. It's called Troll, one of the concrete platform which is installed in the world. It's made the foundation, the structure up to the sea level, it is concrete. But above sea level, again, it is steel one. We are yet to have a concrete structure above sea level.
Thank you, sir.
One more thing I'll add to what he said. The FAT is done on individual component, and FAT is done on individual component and it is installed, it is tested, and then he said mechanical testing. Once you are doing that, then there will be a site acceptance test, and in that they will do the code check, all the tests, prescribed tests they will do. Once it is done satisfactorily, there is no problem, then they will do the hot check. And the hot check, there are means and ways to do that. Once it is done, reports are satisfactory, acceptable, then only they will charge, otherwise they will not charge. If there is even a single doubt, they will not do. It is a very complicated but coordinated activity.
Next time we'll talk about offshore platforms alone, sir.
Thank you.
Only offshore platforms. We'll talk about it. Yes, sir, please, sir.
So how do you arrive at the general unique price of electricity? No. All this publicity.
I don't know this, sorry.
Pricing.
Sir, I'll take 5 minutes of yours, the last slide. What should I say is, this is the wisdom that we're going to take after this particular seminar. First is choice. The biggest difference between human and animal is, animals don't have choice. We have choice. We have a choice to suffer, we have choice to be happy, we have choice to have prejudice, we have choice to be good, to be bad, to be humble, to be egoistic. In life, everything has choice. And any choice that we take, believe me, we are responsible for it. We cannot blame anyone for any reasons. But always remember at this particular point, always in life, any choice that we take, we are responsible for it. We can be good, bad, anything. Every opposites are there. But how we are going to live in the life, live our life, purely based on this single word choice. Point number 2, ego. I have seen a lot of people. I have seen my own, with my own experiences, people at such high levels, after retirement, they don't have anyone to talk with them. They're spending their, they have taken their houses close to the hospital so that they can visit the hospital on daily basis. Please don't be so. Let's try our best to be with the society, contribute to the extent possible with the society. Let's talk with all. At least smile us. This is the second thing I wanted to say. Ego is not going to take us too far. Last one. Any doubt that we have. See, always this a big thing. Always we are in confusions. Always, always, always. Duality always exists. Now, anytime we have such confusions and we don't have any guidance, listen to yourself. We have not been talking to ourselves. Never. We don't have time for it. We talk with all the people in the world. But unfortunately, we don't have time to talk with ourselves. Spend at least 5 minutes a day. Talk with yourself. The gentleman within you is more eager, is waiting. He has lots to talk with you. Listen to him. Okay, guys? Last point. Let me, can I share a 2-minute story?
Yes.
Fine. A man was, liked a deer, right? Deer. He was taming the deer, and he was having the deer for more than 5 years. He was growing the deer. He became so habituated with the deer that he could not live without the deer. Okay, guys? Now, one day what happened is, the deer disappears suddenly. Now the question is, he searches everywhere. He could not find the deer at all. Then he is so attached to the deer that he is unable to control himself. Therefore he thinks, okay, let me go even see the forest nearby where the deer could have disappeared. Therefore he goes into the jungle besides. He searches for his deer there. He does not get it. He comes back to his house. Then he feels shattered. Then he thinks, okay, fine. Only option left is, let me pray God. Okay, guys? Therefore he now decides to pray God. And his prayer was so intense that God appears directly before him. God says, what is that you want me? I'm busy. The man immediately says, I lost my beloved deer that has been with me for last 5 years. God says, okay, you want the deer, that's it, right? Take this deer. The man sees that particular deer and sees a response from the deer. Then he says, no, this is not the deer that I am searching for. I want my deer that is lost. God says, are you sure? He says, yes, I want my own deer. God says, fine, let me give you your deer. He gives the deer. The particular deer comes, sees his owner, jumps over him. They're so happy. And God says, okay, it's time for me to leave, I'm leaving. The man immediately stops the God and says, please wait, God. God says, what more? You got your favorite deer. What more is required? more. He immediately says, no, no, I want the reason why the deer has disappeared. God says it's none of your business. It's none of your business. You got your deer, your beloved deer, okay? I am busy. You have your deer with you. What more? Don't ask anything further more than this. He says, no, 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 God. Now deer is becoming secondary. He's asking the God, no, you cannot leave without seeing me the reason what happened to my deer. God says, see, I don't feel your question is genuine. Let us stop all these things here. Whatever is lost, you have with you. Let us wind up now. He says no. He is not happy. He goes, catches the legs of God, says, no, I will not leave you. Now God is tempted to a position where he does not know what to do. Finally he says, okay, fine. You wanted the reason why your deer has disappeared. That's it. He says, yes, I want it. He says, I've been seeing you for quite a long time. The reason is not required. Why do you emphasize that you want the reason? He says, no, God, I finally decided I want the reason why my deer has disappeared. Okay, now God has no choice. God says to that man, okay, fine. After 30 seconds, okay, turn back and see. You will get the reason why your deer has disappeared. God smiles at the gentleman and says, let us meet soon. And he disappears. After 30 seconds, this man turns back and he sees a huge lion sitting there. Now just decide what must have happened next. The man is no more. God said, let us meet soon. He reached God instantaneously. Okay, now what is the story that I wanted to see is, in life, whatever happens, don't question. Okay, you tried your best, leave it there. You start even questioning God, don't think that God will, what do you call it? One desperation, God will let you down. Therefore, whatever happens in life, just go with the flow. Try your best to solve it. If you're not able to solve it, accept the thing and go. Don't question God. With this, thanks for the beautiful opportunity.
Will you share the presentation?
Yes, I'll give
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, I'll possibly give it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I'm not a.
Oh. Okay, okay.
I'm not a ENC guy, but as most of us felt that you made it so interesting. An engineering, electrical engineering class with a wisdom finish. Thank you so much. And I understood two things. One is it's not from what GIS, but GIS is good, and God lives in the middle of the sea. If there was, if there was only one thing that was so clear to me in the first sight was the helipad. But thank you so much for making it so interesting to all of us. And I now request Parvez, our president, to felicitate the speaker.
So on behalf of the Chennai chapter board,
Thank you guys, it was an honor being with you. I'll meet you soon in some other sessions. Thank you.
I missed your session first part, but the wisdom story is really.
Sarvam Krishna Arpanam. Thank you.
So we have a quick chapter updates from Parvez, and then we go for a break.
So good morning all. Sorry, apologies, I got delayed with some other online meeting. So I just give a very quick chapter updates. I think this is the second face-to-face case session. So as usually earlier pre-COVID, we do a lot of sessions and then we give the chapter updates. Some of you would have been there last time. This slide. So as I think many of you know, I am Parvez, the president, and then we have many board members here. I will just very quickly introduce them. So Dinesh is our VP marketing, and Sundaram is our VP technology, and Madan Ram, who is instrumental in this connecting session, VP PD. Who else is there? So The other you can see from the pictures. And then we have, we have created a second layer AVPs. So we used to have AVPs but not much very active. Now we have very active AVPs who we call as extended board members. So we have a couple of AVPs today. I could see Ramki here, AVP membership, Shanu Raj, AVP professional development, and then we have Armuham, VP AVP communication. Then we have Mr. Kalrajan, Dr. Kalrajan, who is the AVP ENC forum, and then who else? I don't understand. So this ENC forum is, as you know, it was started very long back in 2010, but there is a break in between. So again we restarted with support of the ENC core members, Ravi and Kalirajan and all other support. We started, and then very glad that this has come up to the level of routine case sessions. Thanks to Madan and team and all of you. And then please spread this message to all your ENC community. That is the humble request I have. And then as you know, these type of sessions, cases, we generally allow members. Non-members we charge for it. But these type of industry-specific forums, we are allowing them to come for free. So that's the message you should pass it on, because we are more concerned about sharing the knowledge. And then recently we formed an advisory group. So we believe in very open mind, and then we want to engage more people. So we created a layers for suggestions. At the same time, we want to respect our senior leaders who have been supporting us so long, and then we want to continue the best practices what they did. So we said, as you know, we are celebrating our 20 years anniversary here this year. So we have Chandra sir, Karthik, Subhaya, and Kaushik. So three of them are, four of them are past, board members, and then we have three of them from the current board. So this advisory group will guide us, with best practices which they have followed since last 20 years, and then take it chapter to the next level. And some of them are in global volunteer questions. And then also we are giving a lot of importance to the women. One of the agenda I took after I became a president is to bring more women volunteers into leadership roles. I'm very glad that there will be two women sitting here. We ensure that we get more women participation in every meetings. In fact, last two meetings we have 10 plus women participation. So we want to give importance to them. In fact, we want to bring some of the women as a board member. We are not able to. So we have three AVPs, as you see here, and then Aparna, who is also part of the Women Empowerment Committee, which I am going to talk in the next slide. So, as you all know that we have reached, this is our 20th year. This PMI Chennai chapter is founded in 2002, and 2022 is our 20 years anniversary. We started celebrating. The same hall we started and had a cake cutting on 20th May 2022. So that is a series, that's a curtain raising event. Now we have a series of events. Maybe we are doing a big gala event on the 10th September, which is our Sangamam. So I'm going to talk about it. So we kicked off our face-to-face knowledge sharing session. So this is the second face-to-face sessions, but that's a double bonanza. So we have, as you all know, the Chennai chapter is belong to region level. So region level in PMI, as you know, in Rotary we have districts. So similarly, the region level is PMI South Asia. So we have 11 chapters, so 9 chapters in India and 1 in Sri Lanka, 1 in Bangladesh. So we have 11 chapters put together called region 11. So all such initiatives, whatever we are doing, we are spreading across the region. So that's how the PMI has now brought the new practices. So we have a recently region 11 presidents meet in Pune. As you know, all face-to-face has started happening. Otherwise, it's all in virtual so far in the last 2 years. I am very glad to say that the region 11, PMI South Asia, so they have recognized us as part of this 20th anniversary celebrations. So we got a memento. They actually put a wall of fame that we Chennai chapter has reached 20th. If I'm not wrong, we are the second chapter in the country to reach 20 years, milestone. So this is the recently a region meet happened in Pune with all the board members across all 11 regions. You see people from Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and all the 9 chapters from India. One more important thing I wanted to say here is there are metrics PMI South Asia, generate and then follows. So one of the metric is called chapter recommendation score. So this is basically collected based on the membership. So you all filled up the PMI membership satisfaction survey. So from that survey, they calculate the some of the metric. So one of the metric is our called chapter recommendation score. As you see from 2019 to 2021, we have jumped from 35 to 56. So people recommend our chapters also. And second important thing is the retention, membership retention. If you see, as I told you, we always compare with other 11 chapters. The black line shows is 52.5. So the average for whole PMI South Asia 11 chapters is 52.5, whereas Chennai chapter retention is 57.5. So which shows that we retain more members, but we continue to be a number one soon with all your support. So we also recently did, as part of 20th anniversary celebration, a past board members and volunteers meet. Recently we did in Hablis, and then we called all the 20 years past board members. We invited them, some of them couldn't come. Also we invited volunteers, and then we recognized each of them. So now we want to increase the volunteer base. So please sign up yourself. Our VP volunteer is Aslam, and AVP volunteer is Janvi. So please sign up and show your interest. We need more number of volunteers. I'll just tell you what are all the things in pipeline for the volunteers to get engaged. So please block your calendar. 10th September is our Sangamam, our flagship event. It's happening in the Hotel Savera. We have already blocked. In fact, we are planning the AGM also the same day in the evening. So please block your date on the 10th September. That is where we are going to do a bigger gala ceremony of our 20th anniversary celebrations. So one more important milestone for us is that, as I explained, of PMI South Asia. So you all know that 2012 and 2017, Chennai chapter has hosted a national conference. But now it is called PMI South Asia Conference because of the region accommodation. Now we have won the bid to host the PMI South Asia Conference 2023 in Chennai. So that's where we need more volunteers, and then to make this mega event to happen in Chennai. So it's tentatively we are planning September to December. So this year December it's happening in Mumbai. So we are between September to December will come out some dates, but we need more volunteers. Please sign up to that. And then as part of a gesture for 20th anniversary, we are also going to recognize all the active members who are 5 years and above. We are going to recognize in our AGM in the 2022, which is on the 10th September. So who are all above? So there are people, in fact, we met in the last 4 members. There are 4 members at least came, they said 20 years. They are members for the 20 years. There are 4 people who came for last meet. So in the sense, there will be many people who are 5 and above, so we are going to call all of them and then recognize during our AGM. There are many South Asia, as I said, South Asia regional initiatives, like it's called a Common Calendar Initiative, Youth and Social Impact Program. Youth and Social Impact Program is more like PMI Educational Foundation, you have heard about it, for students and NGOs. There is a project librarian, volunteer development program, social media task force, and women empowerment committee, especially I'm going to explain in the next slide. And also the chapter value proportion and innovation new offerings. See, now PMI is educational institute. Now they also think about how metaverse is going to impact our as a education domain. As you know, everybody is entering the metaverse. So now PMI also started experimenting how we are getting into metaverse. So I'm leading that initiative from the South Asia. So we also, PMI also thinking about regenerating. Things have happened in Baiju, Coursera and Upgrade and things like that. The education industry also transforming. So we assure that PMI is coping up with the speed of the technology and changing elements. So I just want to highlight this Women Empowerment Committee initiative. So what happened is across the South Asia chapters, there is a spark identified from each chapter. I shown you the photo already. Aparna Gandhi is the spark from Chennai chapter. She's leading the initiative, and they are going to have very specific events for women to engage, and this is open for non-members and the spouses also. So this is what the message I want you to carry to your home. And then, so next event is 23rd July for women greet and meet event they are planning. So they have various, things are planned. One is women greet and meet like what we do on KSS. They're also doing women entrepreneur connect because there will be a lot of homemaker. They are doing some entrepreneurial initiatives and things like that. And then also women pass and restart is for someone who had the maternity break and then they want to come back for the career. They are helping. And then also women groom, which is more for mentoring, one-on-one have mentoring clinic and so on. These are all the initiatives. Maybe first of its kind we are planned for the chapter. We'll keep sharing about the event. Please pass it to your sisters and spouses and other members. There is a women WhatsApp group also has been formed. So you are already part of it, right? Ensure that are you part of the group? Okay, good to hear. So that whenever we get see the women, we will encourage them to part of the WhatsApp group. Now we have a lot of initiatives from outreach. Every portfolio is doing a lot of activities. Now, how we created this ENC forum? Similarly, we want to create something like automotive forum. Please come up with ideas. If you are connected with the automotive forum, you can come and give ideas. You can get engaged. We are thinking about similar other industry-specific forums. If you all come together, you say, okay, we want some forum for pharma. Yes, we are happy to do it. And then this construction forum was born just like that. A group of people came and said, we are all PMPs from construction background. Can we have a forum for that? So similarly, we are just thinking about having some industry group for automotive. And then similarly, we are very closely working with NGOs and other. Now we have created an academic forum. So we have one in SRM, one in Crescent University. Now PIT has approached us. So we are going with the different universities and creating academic forum. Primarily academic forum membership is also free. It's a Chennai chapter academic forum. We encourage students and faculty to become a member. We are planning to conduct some programs for them. So please take this message and reach out to your near and dears. So see, these are all some of the activities, the academic forums which we have launched in the Crescent. So now ENC specific activities we have done recently, many activities. We also, thanks to Dr. Kalirajan, we are also in touch with engineers, Institution of Engineers. So we also want to go with like-minded, associate like-minded. In fact, Dr. Kalirajan came up because he associated with the Institution of Engineers. He says, can we just go and collaborate? Similarly, if you have connections, I know you may be member of many other like-minded associations. Please let us know, so we will be happy to collaborate with them. And then, as you know now, our social media, thanks to Dinesh and his team, our social media is very active now. We have more followers, and then posting many things. And then we are now active in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, WhatsApp. We have WhatsApp group. How many of you are not part of our WhatsApp group? Any of our WhatsApp? Not part. Okay. So we have few hands, Dinesh. Please catch them and then get them enrolled in our WhatsApp group so that you will keep getting all the communications. So with this, thank you for your patience, and please thanks for coming on these weekend. And then please encourage, and then we have more activities in the pipeline. I just wanted to excite all of you that we have more roles for the members, volunteers, and everyone in the PMI. Thank you so much.
Just to add, we are also live streaming all our KSS sessions for the members who are not unable to make to these events.
Yeah. Today it is also live.
Yes, yes.
Great.
PMI Chennai chapter channel, YouTube channel.
YouTube channel.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that doesn't mean to please don't come for
Just in case if you are traveling or then you can still.
Do you get videos if you join?
No, it's just for viewing.
So that's the main advantage.
You get to meet people. That's the main.
So let's take a 15 minutes break, and we have another presentation on entrepreneurial mindset by Dr. Mr. Prem, soon to be a doctor. So we'll take 15 minutes break now. Coffee, tea, and discuss everything. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So which department? I am into system. I was earlier working with different topic. I was requested for the last 2 years only. Before that I was associated. You working in the yeah. Yeah, earlier I was in 2 years to powertrain. Okay. Then you should know Saranand Sharma. I was in mechatronics department inside powertrain mechatronics. Correct me over. Definitely. I have a concern. Maybe our LinkedIn group is not active.
BSc Biochemistry, PG
I request Muzaffar to join.
I like your topic.
Okay. I understand from I think it should be. Connect with Dinesh actually. He has the. One second.
Very keen to listen your talk.
Dinesh. LinkedIn group is active. It's not active, no? I have requested membership long back. LinkedIn group. We have LinkedIn group for PMI Chennai chapter. The links are open.
Project Management Institute Chennai. Search for that. Project Management Institute Chennai.
நீங்க தான் புஷ் பண்ணுங்க பண்ணிட்டு want to increase that ultimately the group for
It's a full name.
we missed you on that volunteer meeting.
We have all the updates. Even from today's meet, we have things posted.
Okay.
See?
How to connect this?
Just need to follow.
Okay. There is no.
Yeah. Are you a Chennai chapter member in WhatsApp channel?
Yeah. I mean WhatsApp. Yeah.
Volunteers
One more which I requested long back. It seems.
Oh yeah.
Then we are good.
Yeah.
The presentation file over in a partner.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
Sir, other than rotate final Maki can do. Okay. Everything is video. அதெல்லாம் ஓகே சார் அது எல்லாமே இல்லை I checked அந்த மூணு தான் delete பண்ணோம் அது மூணு delete பண்ணி சார் யாரெல்லாம் கேட்டாங்க எல்லாத்தையும் ஷேர் பண்ணிடுங்க கண்டிப்பாக ஷேர் பண்ணிடுங்க சூப்பராக அதான் சொன்னீங்க English, கடவுள் கடல்ல கடல்ல இருக்காரு. I was impressed. Really, I like that line. கடவுள் கடல்ல இருக்காரு. Vinod, I'll make a move. I have a cup of coffee. Then I'll make a move. Huh? No problem. இது யாருக்கு touchy fingers க்கு கீழ இருக்கு. சுந்தரம் வர வர.
Where is Parvez? He just went out. You should be there.
காஃபி எதுவும் கொண்டு வரவா? காஃபி டீ?
இல்ல. லைட் ஆன் போட்டானா? அதெல்லாம் மற்ற பிக்சர்ஸ்ல வா. என் பையன் எல்லாம்
talk individually. He is on who is already qualified.
Fine, I'll check it. Because I remember one thing. Yeah, because I introduced her to our energy conservation group, AMI, and sorry, IEMP, and I also said that any advantage of PMI Chennai chapter because we are open now.
Sure.
And this universal number you have shared.
I will send it.
No, usually I sit down. Sorry? Usually I sit down. I think last 10 years I have been sitting somewhere in this.
Yeah, I know that. So, this one is happened. Same, my kids are the same.
I think this place is good for CBD screen and it doesn't obstruct. It obstructs.
Welcome back. Before I introduce our next speaker, Mr. Prem, let me thank him from the bottom of my heart for being with us so far in the first session. Thank you, Prem. Prem is a MBA graduate from Tyagaraja School of Management in Madurai. He has been in the IT industry for over 20 years, and he's the co-founder and director of Optisol Business Solution, an IT services company. He left his full-time job in US to pursue his entrepreneurial journey. He, along with his friends turned business partners, they pivoted this company into a global IT services company. They have their footprints in 4 countries, India, US, UK, and Australia, with 400 plus employees working around the world. And when we thought of entrepreneurship, we thought Prem would be the best person to talk about the entrepreneurship in our case session. So I'm pleased to welcome along with you Mr. Prem to talk about the entrepreneurial mindset. Mr. Prem.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd like to start with a note of thanks to Madan and the PMI team for inviting me to the session. First of all, congratulations to the PMI chapter. I didn't know it's a 20 years old chapter. 20 years is phenomenal actually. It's unbelievable. Because running a voluntary organization with
Volume. Maybe the volume.
So running a voluntary organization for 20 years with the team members is unbelievable because amount of challenges, the conflict, politics, and everything. So hats off to you guys, and I look forward to many more years of this chapter and being successful. So don't drop. As this is system, it is a lot of volunteers. So unless you volunteer, you will not be able to learn. Session A, whenever I was sharing the session, my social media post, I told I'm going to learn and share. Because end of the day, these sort of sessions help us in learning as well as sharing whatever we have. So these are some of the amazing forums because otherwise we are in run of the mill. An activity பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தோமோ அதே வந்து we keep doing this sort of activity. So these sort of forums are really helpful. So hats off to you guys. And the first session was really interesting. I'm basically a physics graduate. So when we started with KVA and everything, I told him whether I was worried whether he'll ask the difference between AC to DC and all those stuff. Because it's a scary subject. I was really worried, but it was a really interesting session. And I could empathize with this gentleman who asked about testing these scenarios. Because we people are from IT and we are working in a lot of intangible things. You cannot realize how critical a particular stuff is. In a sense, whenever there's a cross failure in a bank online application, we say it's a known issue and it will be rectified in another 2-3 hours. So any testing that passes, we just say. So from an IT services perspective, we are in a different tribe altogether. In the sense, the tangibles we produce are not something that is visible unless it's a live on application. Testing, now they will have so much of challenges, but always I used to compare this IT engineering with this manufacturing engineering or construction engineering or people who do the real engineering. So what we do, maybe people from IT may take it wrong, but what we do is not real engineering. These people are doing the real engineering activities. So people who do in construction, people who
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Because always used to compare. Whenever we have to learn something, we have to always emulate something from this construction vertical or something from this sort of defense and everything. Because that is where the real engineering, the real mindset, everything happens, right? And what we do is something in a comfort zone. He was showing something on an offshore deployment place, right? People are ready to work even from that place. Office reopen பண்ணி hybrid work mode வாங்க ஆபீஸ்க்கு ஒரு வாரத்துல ஒரு 5 நாள் 2 நாள் வந்து போங்க அப்படி இல்ல சார் வர வழியில ஒரே கோவிடா இருக்கு வீக்கெண்ட் எங்கடா போனேன்னா ஃபீனிக்ஸ் மால்ல இருந்து போட்டோ எடுத்து because that is the mindset of these people and we cannot complain that because that is how this industry is evolving. But from a learning perspective, I always used to emulate something from these other verticals, army, sports and everything because they are the pioneers in most of these innovations and we are more of a followers from these verticals. So thanks to him for giving some interesting insights. So now let's get into the topic, entrepreneurial mindset to achieve greatness. So Madan called me. Thank you. So,
no, it's good. We can move on.
Live.
Thank you.
No problem. So when Madan called me to talk about this particular topic, not entrepreneurial, we can talk something for the PMI chapter. Even I did my PMI, PMP long back, 15 years. So I understand the type of crowd that would be here.
So one more member.
I'm not a member of this chapter. So Dinesh will take a lot of it.
We'll catch him.
I know your chapter people name now. So even I did, and I know the type of people in this particular chapter. It's not purely IT, and from age-wise, it will be a huge variation. So typically, we used to interact with a lot of IT people. We are own tribe by ourselves. We do not belong to this general tribe. So I thought, what topic would I be able to communicate to this general audience? Then I don't want to preach or educate something like best practices, how to change your habit, because I know those things don't work. You'll get motivated within this particular room. Once we go out, we'll be again the same individuals. So again, that would be challenging, and I don't want to do that as well. Then I thought, why can't I narrate something from my own experience? Because as Madan said, I have 20 years of experience. Exactly first 10 years, I was working as an IT services consultant, predominantly in US as well as in India as well. And the last 10 years, I have been doing this entrepreneurial stuff. So there has been a transformation that has happened within me, more from an individual who has worked in IT services company and transformed into an entrepreneur running my own IT services company. So for this transformation, without my awareness or through a lot of inputs from my mentors or through different reading or through the compulsions of nature, I might have learned a lot of stuff, and that has helped in my transformation. I thought I can share those experiences. So the படத்தெல்லாம் போடுவாங்கல்ல படம் ஆரம்பிக்கும் முன்னாடி smoking is injurious to health மாதிரி. So don't take these as advices, because advices are also injurious to your mindset. These are more of experiences. Some of them may apply to you, some of them may not be even relevant to you. So just narrating some of those experiences. So the transformation journey like in these 20 years, first 10 years I was more of a CRM consultant, where we implemented large scale CRM applications for insurance companies, New York Life, American Express, multi-million-dollar accounts. So it was really fascinating journey. 10 years was going really good, real good money in hand, travel across different places. Even in the US I used to travel to different places, meet consultant you will just advise, don't have to worry about deliverables, just you to talk to different people and then get out of that particular place. So it was all easy. But from 2006 or 2007 onwards, we had some itch in our mind that we had to do something of our own. We meaning my classmates from my MBA, College School of Management, where I studied. We had some itching in our mind, we had to do something of our own. Particularly we want to do from Madurai. யார் மதுரை இருக்கீங்கன்னு தெரியல, மதுரையில் ஒரு மோசமான பழக்கம் ஊர் ஓவர் பாசம். So we thought we have to do something in our hometown. How we can help our hometown in some initiative or the other. So tourism, travel, என்னென்னவோ யோசித்தோம். Then we had some opportunity to do something on a BPO vertical, where we subcontracted for data entry operations for a large scale BPO healthcare company. That is how we started our operation. We started with 100 seats, that is around 200 employees. So say data entry operations, we started our operation at Madurai. So that is how our journey started. But I didn't enter full time at that time, because I didn't need anyone to be full time. We were able to manage with our own jobs. So I was partially supporting one of my friends who is full time into that. So that is how we started our BPO operation. But the downstream or 2 years we were forced to sell that to one of the venture capitalists, because they wanted to expand to Tier 2 cities. So we made an exit, sold back to the venture capitalists. Then we thought IT services is our core strength. That is what we have been doing. Not we meaning again my friends, so partners. So we have been doing that. So we can continue IT services and then build our own company. So that is why we started Optisol in the year 2008. 2008-9 we registered, and then we started Optisol as a business solutions company. So from the name, I don't want to sell our company here, because I don't want any clients pitch here. But from a company name perspective, we thought we have to be a global solution provider. We thought we had to be a business solution provider, optimized within the constraints. So Opti is nothing but optimization of solutions within the constraint, because every business solution is being given within some constraints. There are a lot of constraints that happen around the solutioning. So within that solution constraints, what type of solutions we can provide for the business team. That was the Optisol name form. And we at that time we did our extensive workshop in terms of what we want to do, from all the way from vision, what type of company we want to build, what is our roadmap, what type of services we want to do, what we don't want to do. So we formed everything. So those are all honeymoon days, like everything will be good, everything will be green. You have a dream, you have that energy, and we got started with that particular stuff. And we started our office. Everything is in place, but we don't have any clients. A typical entrepreneurial problem. So we thought we had to get some clients, but something has to come first, right? When it's a services company, you cannot wait for client to come before starting your services, or services cannot wait for the client. So it has to be in sync, but somehow somebody has to start. So that is where we started investing on infrastructure, investing on a couple of people, and then we started our office. So now 10 years like I joined full time joined manna, like first day, like you for the all 10 years you'll be working really busy with calendars, meetings and all the stuff. First day I don't have anything in my calendar. I don't have any emails. Whole day I'll be just checking my emails. There won't be anything, because I don't have any activity. And in office second day உட்காந்துருக்கேன். வடமல்லி தான் ஆஃபீஸ் எங்களுக்கு. வடமல்லி நம்ம ஏவிஎம் கேட்டாப்ல உள்ள ஒரு சின்ன ரோடு, அதில் லாஸ்ட்டில் ஒரு 4 எடுத்து போட்டிருந்தோம். உட்காந்துருக்கேன், திடீர்னு பவர் போயிடுச்சு. ஒரு 6 பசங்க உட்காந்தாங்க, எல்லாம் என்னை திரும்பி பார்த்தாங்க. நானும் என்ன திரும்பி பார்க்குறேன், சொல்லி என்னப்பா பவர் இல்லை, என்ன பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னு. கீழே போய் ஜென்ரேட்டர் ஆன் பண்ணுங்க சார் அப்படின்னாங்க. ஜென்ரேட்டர் ஆன் பண்ணுன்னா வேற யார் பண்ணுவா அப்படின்னா, இல்லை கார்த்திக் சார் பண்ணுவாங்க. இன்னைக்கு அவர் இல்லை, நீ தான் ஜென்ரேட்டர் ஆன் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னா. கீழே போய் ஜென்ரேட்டர் ஆன் பண்ணலாம்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஜென்ரேட்டர் ஆன் பண்ண போனால் டீசல் இருக்காது. ஸோ டீசல் இல்லை அப்படின்னா என்னடா பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னா, ஒரு டேங்க் இது கேன் இருக்கு சார், ஸோ யூ கேன் கோ அண்ட் பை அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. So that's our first entrepreneurial task. Go to the nearest petrol bunk, buy diesel, and then come back, fill the genset with your diesel, and then start the genset. so that the office will have power. So that is how the whole thing starts. So first 2-3 weeks, I don't have anything else to do because we have a sales plan. Everything can be in place. We have some network. We think things will happen just like that. Just you say you are an India-based IT services company, and the people, all your friends in US are in the queue just to pass on some work. It never happens because in entrepreneurship you can have everything in place, but end of the day you have to be patient and persistent. So in the transformation happened all those 10 years and taught us so many things. Predominantly being patient, persistence, keep trying multiple things, leadership skills. So on the experience of Matana, we are going to share in this particular presentation, right? So there are so many ups and downs during our journey, and Madan, I think he hyper introduced first in the doctor சொல்றாரு. Maybe the Vikram படத்துல வர சந்தனம் மாதிரி டாக்டர் தான். At the second, he told a lot of things, but to be on the humble side, we are trying. It's a long journey. We are still trying, and we are still trying to evolve our company into the global scale. So let's get to that presentation. So what's going to be the agenda? So it may be one theory that I put forth. It may not, it may be disrupting. Somebody may not agree, but still it is something that I am convicted. Everyone is an entrepreneur. They may wear a different hat. Few may be entrepreneurs, few may be salespreneurs, or few may be doing something for their family. So everybody has that basic trait of entrepreneurship. So I want to start the session with a basic theory. Everybody is an entrepreneur. And for that entrepreneurship to scale up to the next level, we need a mindset shift from a pure like a hidden entrepreneur, in the sense of split personality. There is some hidden entrepreneurship thought process within everyone, but you have to bring it explicitly. So there has to be a mindset shift, and the basic mindset shift has to happen from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So most of us are within a box. The box is a concept I am using many times in this particular presentation. We are closed within a particular box, and we build a lot of assumptions, we build a lot of constraints around us, and that is what the concept of fixed mindset or being within the box. So how the transformation happens from a fixed mindset into a growth mindset and leadership. So we have to avoid that self-deception around leadership, how curious we are and how quick or how adaptive we are to embracing changes. So that is the fourth one. And the last one is the roller coaster ride. So the managing highs and lows. It can be part of entrepreneurship. It can be part of everyone's career. I can't boast that only I have this particular column. Company owner ups and downs. Everybody is going through their ups and downs in their life. Everybody's career is going to go through this roller coaster. So how we are going to manage this highs and lows with passion. So motame 10 slides that I'll quickly go through the stuff. So why everybody is an entrepreneur? And the concept end of the day, entrepreneurs are creating values within constraints. So they are contributing something by creating values, and they operate within a specific constraint. When you are working within a company, your constraints are taken away mostly by the management team, or taken away by the investors, or taken away by the financial backbone of the particular company. So you're able to operate independently. உங்களுக்கு project team வேணும்னா, you may have some constraints, but still at least you have the team in place, at least you have ability to pay salary every month to that particular team, you are able to buy raw materials, you are able to do a lot of activities, but everybody is creating that particular value within that particular constraint, and everybody is selling or negotiating. Our everyday life, we are doing some sales. I am selling something to you here. You have been selling something to somebody else during the tea break. So we are selling something, or we are negotiating something. Everyone has got a vision. So if you put all these traits together, fundamentally everybody has the thought process of entrepreneurship or skill set of an entrepreneurship within their mindset. That is always there. But 2 weeks back I went to Bangalore. I met one guy in a pub, and like all those guys were high-fi. This guy was also good, but I was casually talking to him, and he said he has 35 or 40 Pelguri cart இருக்கும்ல, அதை வந்து he has distributed in different places in Bangalore. He has 120 plus people working for him. He's an entrepreneur, but nobody will claim him. அதே இது சாய் கிங் branded ஒருத்தன் போட்டா அப்படின்னா, we think that's a very innovative idea, that's a huge order. Not to blame, not to downgrade those guys, but our mindset is whenever something is branded, we take them as a real entrepreneur. And people selling something on the street or doing some sale activity for whatever value they produce, we undermine them, right? But the concept is everyone is creating some value, and they are selling, they are negotiating, everybody has got some vision. And intrapreneurs, the word intrapreneurs, but people who operate within the company, people who are entrepreneurial mindset but operate within an organization, they are called intrapreneurs. Like a second level leadership in an organization. And the salespreneurs, this is another coined word by Pipeliner sales CEO. Nicholas Kimla சொல்லிட்டார். So what he said is, salespeople are entrepreneurs within the enterprise. So they are called as salespreneurs. So the entrepreneurs and salespreneurs are the people who are lifting the organization, who are transforming the organization to the next level. If you look at the history of every bigger company, all the way from GE to Microsoft to Google, there was a founding team, and then once the founding team made an exit, the second level leadership came in, and they became the real entrepreneurs within the organization. They transformed the organization from the founder's vision to something else. If you look at Microsoft, the founder's vision was a hardware company with Windows as a license base, and Bill Gates was completely focused on monopolizing the hardware as well as the operating system. If you look at Satya Nadell's vision, he is democratizing technology. He is technology from different places. Azure cloud or whatever he is trying to sell through Microsoft platform, he is trying to democratize technology. So if you look at the transformation from Bill Gates to Satya Nadella, there has been a huge change, and that cannot happen without an entrepreneurial mindset. He is not behaving purely like an employee. He is behaving someone like being part of that particular company, creating that particular value, and transforming the company from one stage to the other, right? Another classic example is Jeff Johnson. There is a book by the founder of Nike, Phil Knight. He's the founder of Nike, Shoe Dog. Real amazing book, and an entrepreneurial journey in a sense, ஒரு founder journey. So in that book you can read some interesting insights. Jeff Johnson தான் வந்து Nikeயோட first employee. So he was the one who coined that particular term Nike, and that logo, the tick mark, like what they call as shoes, that was done by a graphic designer he hired from a university for $35. Yeah, an example சொல்றேன் அப்படின்னா, the founder Phil Knight, he had a vision to build a large scale shoe company for athletes. That was his vision. But the entire transformation, if you go through his book, the entire transformation or building the company was done by his second level leaders. So he had a real good team, what we call as the next level executive team. Somebody he gave equity, share or something, and few worked purely for a salary purpose. But still, the second level team helped him to transform the company to the next level. Think of somebody naming the company. Think of someone creating the logo for that particular company. So that is what an entrepreneurial mindset within an organization, right? And look at the story of A.M. Naik, L&T. Anybody from L&T construction? You would have known about A.M. Naik, right? A.M. Naik joined L&T 1965 as a junior manager within L&T, lowest level within L&T Corporation. From 1965 all the way by 1998, he is the CEO of L&T. By 2002, he is the chairman of L&T. And A.M. Naik has nothing to do with the founders. He has nothing to do with the founders' family. And if you look at his biography, it's phenomenal. The way he transformed L&T purely from a construction company into multiple portfolios, all the way from L&T Finance to L&T IT to AIM multiple divisions. I think they have around 24 or 26 business verticals actually. A.M. Naik was able to transform. If you count from purely entrepreneurial scale perspective, is A.M. Naik an entrepreneur? You won't say, right? Because you think entrepreneurs are somebody who start things by themselves and do. But from my yardstick, L&T has a mission 50 years, 100 years back. They started with some ambition, they had some vision, they had some business practice in place. But Naik took that company and transformed that completely. He managed so many acquisition takeover threads. He ran the company from a particular focus to a entirely different focus. He was able to save the company. So these sort of examples indicate that everybody has that particular entrepreneurial or salespreneurial skills, and that comes out whenever there is a need, and for that we need a mindset. So it's all about that passion, ethics and vision what the individual has. Whether you are part of a company, whether it's your own company, or whether you are working in a company as a second level leader or a pure employee, end of the day what all counts is how much passion you have with what you do and what's the ethical value that you have towards your work. So the autobiographies, I have some examples from different books in the further slides. One common thing most of these leaders talk is around ethics. So in the initial stages of your career, the more you invest on your ethical values, the more you are ethical and fair to your business practice, to your work practice, the more successful you will be in the later part of your career. People who take shortcuts in the initial days, even the companies, even when you, many of you may have some startup idea, many of you may think of doing something of your own. Any shortcuts or any unethical or unfair business practices that you start in the initial days will bite you so big. Is a classic example. Very simple malpractice in the accounting structure screwed up the entire company and put it behind the bar actually, right? So we have so many examples. So that ethics as well as the vision. If at all you have that, you are either an entrepreneur, it can be an entrepreneur, or it can be a salesman. And the other business case that I want to put on the table is the new age organizations and organizations that they want to transform are looking for the second level leaders. So end of the day, a lot of you are working in companies, right? So you would be hearing from your CEO or from your HR guy, we are looking for innovation. We are looking for transformation in the mindset. We are looking for next level leaders. Why that thing happens? Because founders can do certain things, top level management can do certain activities, but the entire transformation and the transition from one stage of the company to the next league, whatever is in their roadmap, that can happen only with the second level leaders. And people who have this intrapreneur or entrepreneurial mindset, they are the ones who can take that particular mantle and carry it forward. And the last one is not all second level leaders make it there. What got you here won't get you there. It's a very important quote. It's the name of the book by Marshall Goldsmith. Another interesting book with the 20 habits on how successful people can remain successful. I'll take another example, TCS. They did some survey on the first 100 employees of TCS, where they are now. And they were tracking all those employees' progression, where they reached to different levels. And if you look at that particular number, I forgot the percentage, but if you look at the number, major percentage of the people are stuck somewhere. In the sense, they haven't grown up to the next level in the corporate league, even within TCS, or even when they have moved to different companies. So people generated place to the second level in the company. In the sense, second level leadership, they get promoted quickly, they grow in the first 10 years to a next league, and there is a stagnation in many people's mindset. They stay there, and they are not able to move, and they are staying within a particular box. Why that happens? The reason is, what got you there won't get you to the next stage. Because of some skill set, because of some support system, because of some environmental support framework or something, or because to manage that particular run the show. But for the next 10 years, for the next 20 years, that particular skill set or whatever you, and that transformation can help only when you have a shift in your mindset. That is what I wanted to call as entrepreneurial mindset shift. Any questions?
No, actually, that's a great point. I just wanted to highlight. So, what we are specifically talking about in the last bullet is more of a continuity, right? So, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So, there is every phase when you, as part of your journey, and every phase you have to look at the opportunities for you to improve and then make sure that it is.
Exactly. So something might have taken you to that particular stage. Unless you learn, unless you are open, curious to learn, you will not be able to travel to the end. Yes, sir.
So how do you manage the emotional problems, like in family setup usually? There will be a lot of resistance for an entrepreneur. They say, why you want? Why you are resigning a good job and getting into a business? So how do you manage that? What sort of emotional values you add to so that you transform into the new life?
That's a good question, actually. Say, unless the family backup, unless my parents supported, unless my spouse or somebody supported. My case was lucky. Before getting married, I moved into this. I was very clear. Unless I get married, I will not move. So, my friends and whoever gets married, they will move into the company, actually. So, gradually, one after the other, we gradually moved into the company. Jokes apart, but managing this emotional factor is on the conviction that you have. See, unless you illustrate that particular passion, when you show the passion for something, when you are always talking about that passion, the family will automatically start supporting you. When you yourself in a doubt, let's say you keep going and ask your husband whether I can do that or not, whether this is a risk, obviously he will say something on the negative side because he wants to be on the safe side. That's an example you will see in another example.
So the possibility of success is higher when you have more marriages.
See, but Indian perspective, before marriage is good, or when you are 35 plus or 40 plus, again it's much easier actually. And that is statistically proven as well. Successful startups are either in the early stage of their career or in their later part of their career. Move to the next one. So what the mindset shift we are going to talk? There are so many things I can talk about in the sense of multiple books or from cultural perspective, from thought process perspective. I can talk so many things. I just pick the three. One is fixed mindset to a growth mindset transformation. The second one is sidekick. Sidekick in a sense you are part of the growth. You are part of a 500,000 employee company. Just stay there. I'll be under the carpet. Nobody should notice me. I'll just run the show and then stay in this particular company as long as possible. Being a sidekick to a leadership mindset and a risk aversion. Anything that changes, I want to be in my comfort zone. Anything should not be disturbed in my comfort zone. Transfer, I'll be scared. Move to a different sector. New projects, I'll be scared. Change from one account to the other, I'll be scared. New technical initiatives, some challenges that's going to come, I'll be scared. So we're moving from a comfort zone into a roller coaster ride. So these are the three things that we are going to focus in this particular session. Yeah.
Can you These எல்லாமே கண்டு slide kick.
Sidekickல mostly I have been looking at, maybe I'll have a specific slide on that. Okay. So what's the fixed mindset with a growth mindset? If people are interested in reading, I strongly recommend this particular book by Beck, actually, Carol Beck. This book even was Satya Nadella. He talked a lot about this particular book, mindset. Why people's mindset has to be changed. And he said this is one of his major influence for transformation of Microsoft from where it was to the current stage. So a lot of inputs he got from this particular book. Very small concept, but very eye-opener. Fixed mindset, like we have our whole intelligence as static. We think we know everything. We think we are in a pretty comfortable zone. We know a lot of stuff. We have nothing to learn. We close our mindset, and then we say we have nothing to learn beyond this particular point. We close our mindset, and growth mindset, intelligence can be developed. We have to keep developing intelligence. We have to learn something. That's a curiosity to learn. That curiosity to learn can come only from a growth mindset. So this is what happens from my entrepreneurial experience. என்ன பண்றோம் 10 இயர்ஸ் முடிச்சுட்டு நான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ப்ராஜெக்ட் நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி so we have to get some project, we have to get something for paying to the employees. So we started building in a platform called Elance. The Elance, Upwork, these are some freelancing platforms where we go and start bidding for projects. So bid பண்ற projectsல first project என்ன வரும் அப்படினா you have to create a logo for $10. அதான் ப்ராஜெக்ட்டே இருக்கும். $10 we have to create a logo. You start negotiating with the client. He'll ask for 5 logos to be created for the $10. And he'll ask a similar 5 logos to 50 plus companies, and he'll pick one, and whichever he likes, he'll pay the $10. So these are the type of projects you'll start building in the initial days. Think of, if I have a fixed mindset, I have worked on a multi-million-dollar initiative with a lot of CRM initiatives for American Express, New York Life, and everything. Why should I go and bid for a logo creation? Why should I go and bid for a website development activity? Company would not have been here. You would not have been even alive by that particular time. End of the day, we have salary to pay, we have company to grow. So we start reorienting ourselves for a company of our size. Since 3 or 5 employees, we have to reorient. We have to understand the dynamics of this particular market. We have to adapt to this particular market. That is when we started with WordPress development, website development, Joomla, Drupal. These are some of the frameworks I never heard in my life before that. Java, PHP, then we started talking about smaller level website development activities. So those things help us to learn, to understand the dynamics of this small and mid-sized enterprise. How much of projects will be affordable to you? How much type of clients you can reach out? I cannot go and pitch for American Express sitting from India. Nobody will even talk to me, right? So you have to understand the reality, reorient yourself, and get into a mindset where we have to develop some intelligence for running this small and mid-sized enterprise. I cannot be in my own comfort zone, stating I know all these technologies, I know all these large-scale frameworks, and I will do only what I am comfortable with. No, that is not going to happen. So when you are entering into an entrepreneurship, now diesel example not just for happen to everyone. Look at restaurant owners. We see restaurant owners immediately rising their sleeve and making tea, or they will directly get into the stove and then they will make dosa. End of the day, when situation is needed, you have to rise your sleeve and get into that particular activity. For that, you have to start growing and understanding the nuances from the bottom up. If I sit all the way in the top, close my room, I am the boss, I am the MD of the particular company, I have a great designation, nobody can come and meet me, I will not talk to anyone, then that's a fixed completely with my surrounding, right? So the fixed mindset people, what they typically do, they have a tendency, whenever some challenges comes, they'll avoid challenges. They'll say this is not exciting, I'm not going to be part of that particular challenge. Whereas if you have growth mindset, you start embracing that particular challenge. You look forward to that particular challenge. You don't confine yourself that I don't want to be challenged. I want to learn something out of that particular experience. Obstacles, you give up easily, persist in the face of setbacks. Say my example. We start with Elance, we started gradually building. Even in Elance, right? So Elance, it's a buyer world. Some of you might be working on these bidding platforms, action platforms. We bid for projects and they'll give projects for $5,000 project. You start delivering that particular project, and feedbacks are really critical. When they have given a negative feedback, your whole reputation will be gone. You will not be able to get the next project. So buyer will have a huge power. In demand project agreement, will get started with the project, and towards the third cycle, he would say, I need a lot of new things to be added because whatever I have built is not going to be useful. These are the new set of requirements. If you resist, he will say, I will post negative review in Elance. I will complain to the Elance committee, and they will debar you from doing that particular project. So those are some of the challenges that we have to do with that particular platform. In the platform, we don't have any other business in place. We need that particular platform to grow, at least to build our fundamental. So when those challenges are there, I can give up easily. When the platform, I'll do something else. That is a fixed mindset. But if at all I can persist in the face of setbacks, I can see how else I can change this particular platform into my advantage. Or how else I can move from this particular platform into a different system. So that is what a growth mindset is. Criticism. So you will ignore useful negative feedback, you will learn from criticism, and you will threatened by the success of others. Find lessons and inspiration in the success of others. So if you look at all these fixed mindset thing, some of them you'll be able to identify easily. Even after 10 years, after reading this, after doing all the stuff, I'll turn into some of these things immediately because that's a comfort zone. This makes you feel really comfortable. Feel threatened by success of others, ரொம்ப easy. யார் என்ன பண்ணாலும் சரி, அவனை பத்தி ஏதாவது கம்பெனி நெகட்டிவா சொல்லிடலாம். இதனால தான் சக்சஸ் ஆனா, அவன் இது பிரச்சனை அந்த பிரச்சனை சொல்லிட்டு போயிடலாம். See, give up easily. That's again a comfort zone. Avoid the challenges. So we'll always be pushed towards this particular stuff, whereas we have to try coming to this particular side. So that is the typical challenge between a fixed mindset into a growth mindset. So கொஞ்சம் classic stories போவோம். Because we have been probably talking about a lot of topics. So the first one is this one everybody will know. I'll start with Sachin and Vinod Kambli. So in cricket they would have heard about this friendship stories between Sachin and Vinod Kambli. Both started their career in the same stage. Both were really good in cricket. And cricket technical பேசுறவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்க? Kambli is more technical, right? Exactly. So he is more technical, he is more capable than Tendulkar. But one day he shoot up and he became world most acclaimed cricketer, whereas the other guy completely dropped off from the entire purview. என்ன நடந்துச்சு அங்க பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா, simple thing they say is the mindset. Sachin had a continuous learning mindset. Sachin பத்தி பேசினா we can keep talking a lot of days because the way he used to practice in the night. The way he used to practice during the nights whenever he has some challenge, Shane want to practice பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சு. So he had that particular learning mindset, whereas Kambli had a fixed mindset. He didn't want to adapt to the changes of that particular ecosystem. For cricket world வந்து new World Cup போறாங்க, Indian team உள்ள part of the Indian team. So the individual has to adapt to that particular challenge, manage himself. But one went into a fixed mindset, the other went into a growth mindset, and you see the difference. Amazon Prime, there is this movie called Moneyball. Has anyone watched that movie? Brad Pitt movie, Moneyball. If you haven't watched, if you have Amazon Prime, please watch that particular movie. Anybody interested in management concepts? This movie has everything and that every management concept in that particular movie. For example, change management, organizational development, group skills, transformation, and everything. The hero of that movie, actually, it's a real character, Billy Bean. Hero on the Brad Pitt. So Billy Bean, he's one of the most acclaimed fresher to join a baseball team. Our New York Mets in 1980s, he was signed for $125,000 with a bonus $354,000, $150 in today's dollars value. He was assigned, and instead of attending Stanford University seat கிடைச்சிருக்கும், அதை கிளிக் பண்ணிட்டு he joined the Mets team. One of the most acclaimed. Everybody talks about him when he made the debut. Said that he's one of the best sportsmen they have ever seen. But in the score once, in the sense real good score, he didn't make any impression. In the first series, he was completely out. He was dealt as one of the worst failure in the case of Mets. Think of a guy who has illustrated excellent experience, excellent skills during all those college matches, university matches. But when he's put in front in a global scenario, when he's put in a front in a professional scenario, university or a match, he completely fails. The problem that he narrates in the part of that particular movie is yearly fame, or think that he got so much days, plus thinking that he knows everything about the sports, made him close his mindset. He thought he knows everything about that particular sports. He is one of the recruited in this particular field, and he did not learn anything more. That is where he is stuck. Then he is out of the sports completely. He'll then become a coach, and he'll make his team win. He'll get offered to coach with the Red Sox and everything. Real interesting movie. Again, another yearly fame and yearly promotion. This happens in the corporate world as well. நிறைய பார்த்துப்போம், டக்குன்னு உள்ள வந்துருப்பாங்க, ஆக்சிலேட்டர் டக்கு ப்ரொமோட் ஆன மாதிரியே இருக்கும். ஒரு 28-30 பார்த்தா they'll be completely stuck. They'll not be able to move beyond that particular level. The reason is yearly fame and moving into a stage where you are really not capable of will make you really struggle and will push you into that fixed mindset. Right? The other example is The Ride of a Lifetime, Robert Eager. Another excellent biography. If you have time, you can read this book as well, The Ride of a Lifetime. So Robert Eager is was the CEO of Disney. So he started with NBC Corporation, News Broadcasting. He started with NBC, and then he became the CEO of Walt Disney Corporation. One thing that I want to quote from he was a floor supervisor for a TV studio. இப்போ நம்ம விஜய் ஸ்டுடியோ விஜய் டிவி மாதிரி எடுத்தோம்னா அதில் உள்ள ஒரு ஃப்ளோர் மேபி நானானியாக்கு ஒரு ஃப்ளோர் இருந்துச்சுன்னா அதுக்கு ஃப்ளோரை சூப்பர்வைஸ் பண்ணுற ஒரு ரோலில் தட் இஸ் வேர் ஹி ஸ்டார்டட் ஹிஸ் கேரியர் ராபர்ட் டேகர். And he grew really aggressively within the news vertical. And suddenly one day the chairman called him and he said they have to move into the Disney. Disney is all about creativity. It's all about making movies. It's about animation. He said he doesn't know anything about animation. He doesn't know anything about movies. He's completely into news and related activity. Then the chairman told that's a place that he has to learn. Well, he's giving a classic example. So in every meeting, whenever he goes and talks to his colleagues, he'll always go with an open mind and he'll accept he doesn't know anything in that particular field. He'll openly say, I don't know anything about movie making. I don't know anything about script writing. I don't know anything about commercialization of a particular movie. Unless you openly accept you don't know something. The previous session, somebody asked a question, price of electricity plus how much we can distribute. One good thing I like, I don't know. Because many of us won't even say, I don't know. When I stage people may think something wrong. Immediately, if you cook up some answer, nobody is going to check. I can say some answer, people will accept. But one good quality I saw in this, I don't know, I will check, I'll get back to you. That is what Robert Dager did. He said he doesn't know anything about that particular field. I am here to learn. So first 3 to 6 months, he completely learned. He traveled across the different studios. He watched so many movies. He read so many scripts. Every day he used to read at least 4 or 5 complete comprehensive script. Movie or script win பண்ண movie, fail ஆன movie, எல்லாத்தையும் படிச்சு he learned so much of stuff, and then that is how he got into that particular growth mindset. Same with Louis Gerstner, the story of IBM. IBM யார் ஒர்க் பண்ணீங்களா?
Not now.
Not now. Right. It's 120-year company now, right? Last month they celebrated 120 years. Another classic transformation story. இதோட book வந்து Why Elephants Cannot Dance அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. Another real interesting autobiography. And real good lesson for anyone in IT services as well as somebody who wants to do something on the entrepreneurial world. If you talk about the transformation, why some companies succeed, why some companies fail, good to great to man. If companies stay good, IBM is a classic good company. It was one of the most reputed company in US. Even now it has an excellent brand. But that company was about to collapse when Louis Gerstner was deputed as CEO in 1993. Company over there, they had no direction. IBM didn't know what else they have to do. They wanted to focus on hardware. Microsoft was the leader in the hardware side. They were not into services. They didn't know where else to go. Company was completely in a bad culture. Elitism, in the sense they hired a lot of intelligent or fresh graduates from eminent universities, and that's a set of elitism. Learning people had real good brands behind them, and they didn't contribute anything to the company. So the company was stuck, frozen. So President Clinton made a personal call. Clinton checked in different places. It's true. Clinton called. He said that we have to save IBM. This is something that you have to do for the country. So that is how he joined the IBM. He owed it to America, and he accepted the offer. So our offer again he came from a traditional manufacturing vertical. Nabisco, RJ Nabisco, the Mari tobacco company, biscuits, FMCG. He accepted this particular offer. Then he started learning about the dynamics of his consulting business. He started learning about the dynamics of IT services as a business. That is when the transformation of IBM happened. So first he did is opened up all the channels of communication. He traveled extensively for 6 months, top to bottom. He went, met different people, talked to everyone, understood the nuances of that particular company. And then internal employees and clients he kept talking, attacked elitism. Very branded groups were there, global strategic division, consulting and strategic division. There were a huge number of people who were more of bottlenecks to the company's transformation. He killed all those particular groups. He made that organization completely flat. If I remember right, even IBM is a flat structured company now. They didn't go into that hierarchical setup. Right, yeah. So same way, he made it completely flat, and he removed that particular strategic group business unit mindset, moved away from genius mindset to growth mindset. In the word he is using in multiple places in that particular group. I want to move this company from a genius mindset to a growth mindset. What's the difference in Pathavana? You can hire somebody from one of the reputed universities across the world. You can have the best of the graduates in your company. Will they help in your growth? Will they have that mindset to help your organization grow and transform? That's a two different story. Not intelligence, all intelligence help in your growth, right? So you have to have a proper culture in the company that helps in that transformation, not in building reputation. I have 150 graduates from IIT. Doesn't mean anything unless there is some value they add to the particular company, right? He found that and he removed that particular elitism and completely changed the company to customer focus. And look at the transformation. From 1993 to 2002, IBM market capitalization rose from $29 billion to $168 billion. That's not a small number actually. And he saved the company that was about to be shut down because Americans take IBM as their reputation or a symbol of that particular country. Exactly. But I'm on the Tata IBM is for US. So he transformed that entire company within those particular timeline. So these are sort of people who have that particular growth mindset and they are entrepreneurs. In the example, they may not have incorporated IBM as a company, but they help in transformation within that particular growth mindset. What I So the next one is leadership and self-deception. Again, one book that really opened up my eyes is this one, Leadership and Self-Deception by Erdinger Institute. That's a globally reputed consulting firm, Erdinger Institute. So the whole book is really interesting. It's not a business book or a management book. It's narrated by an experience of a virtual character. He joins a new company, and the company's founders talk about that particular company, how leadership is in that particular company, how they transform the company from inside the box to an outside box leadership thought process. என்ன பண்ணாங்கற ஒரு நரேஷன் மட்டும் தான். Very easy read. ஒரே நாள்ல படிச்சு முடிச்சலாம். So அந்த bookல வந்து the leadership self deceptionல வந்து I could see that happening in companies of our size. நாங்க 400 member company இருக்கப்ப one of the major challenge we face is we look for second level leaders because we want a company to be go to the next level. We want to focus something on the long term. We want the next level leaders to take care of our tactical operations, regular activities. And we look at our employees and tell them you are going to the next leaders. So the deception பாத்தீங்க அப்படினா next leadersல வந்து internal employees ஃபுல்லா பார்க்கறப்ப I look at all my team members, they have been with me for a long time, but I see them as the பசங்க ரெடி இல்ல, they are not leaders yet because they haven't grown to that particular extent. They have been with me for a long time. Unless I delegate, unless I manage, unless I micromanage, they will not be able to get things done. So that is one thing that I have always in my mind. Employees are not ready. They screw up. They need to micromanage. Delegation makes me nervous. Employees, their mindset would be, company will keep talking about leadership. Company will keep talking about innovation. Company will have some weird jargon for every year. In the year innovation, and next year it will be digitization. Next year it will be something else. Why should I be bothered? It's not my problem. All I need is I need to focus on my core skill. I need to be expert in my tech or functional role alone. Organization won't trust me and fear of making failure. We are confined into a particular box. From organization leadership perspective, we always think employees are not ready. And from employee perspective, they think organization is not ready. And we keep building this particular perception and we take cues from others and justify our opinion. This is the book concept. You build an opinion. For example, if I have an opinion built whenever I see Madan, whenever I interact with Madan, I always think in that particular direction. Madan, if I justify whatever cues he sends, I will take that as a justification to my thought process. I keep building that particular opinion. So that is what happens with the leadership as a process as well. So inside the box, we view others as objects, just as vehicle, or non-living human being. We are at workplace or wherever we are, even if you are a leader or even if you are a normal low-level employee, whatever it is, we look at other people purely as objects. Our needs or wants are more important than the other people's needs. So we always live in that particular box and we unconsciously resist others and whatever we do is ineffective. So resistance, you would have seen a lot of leaders. First thing they'll start is no. But even though I understand it cannot happen, that is the word they'll immediately start. No, but it cannot. So that's the mindset people build over these years. That is that inside the box mindset because they treat you purely as objects. They don't treat you as people. So the moment you start treating everybody as object and you don't listen to their perception and immediately you build a block, then you will be always inside the box. When you move outside, you view others as people. They have dreams, they have hopes, they have wants. They are also working in that particular company. They may have some perception about the work practice. They may have some perception about what they do. Then the others' needs and wants are as legitimate as yours. You will also value them as a fellow human being and start taking inputs. And the people sense our intentions and respond positively. So in the change, critical when we have the leadership tag, some role name will come. You are a project manager, you are associate vice president. Those tags are shit. That doesn't mean anything. Designations may make you happy. You may have tens of hundreds of people reporting under you. All those things and counts doesn't matter. A leader is someone who is not managing people. A leader is someone who is able to inspire, who is able to give value to the people, who is able to create some value to the fellow human beings. Gandhi, take any business leader. There are some business people in India, you don't even respect them as leaders. But look at Tata, look at Narendra Modi. The reason why you respect them as leaders and business people is the values they carry. So whenever you are moving up in that particular leadership position, one experience that we have learned, even though we are founders, even though there is nobody to ask any question, but you always think virtually there is some leader in place and he will ask these set of questions. We have to be always giving value to the people and understand from a outside the box perspective. We have to always value people. நான் வந்து யாரையோட ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்கேன், ஆக்சென்ச்சர் கன்சல்டிங் கம்பெனியோட ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்கேன், நீ யாரா அந்த பையன் ப்ரெஷர் வந்து என்கிட்ட பேசுகிறான், என் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இவனுக்கு என்ன சம்மந்தம் இருக்குது, இவன் வந்து கம்பெனியை பற்றி தான் அவன் சொல்கிறான், டவுன் ஹாலில் எப்படி என்னை பற்றி கேள்வி கேட்கலாம். Those things won't work out because end of the day they are also people, they are also fellow human beings, they have some value, and unless you interact, unless you open up your mind, nothing is going to change. Now questions irka? Good. Okay, last two slides. One is leadership பேசுனதுனால. So what makes a perfect leader? It's a question that everybody asks. Leadership na enna? Again, I'm repeating again, leadership is not about managing people, number of people that are reporting to you, designation, what role you do. No. Leadership, everybody may be a leader. Thing is, you have to influence and create some impact on the others. The moment you are able to influence and create some impact because of the value that you contribute, because of the some addition that you give to that particular individual, then you become a leader. Automatically, people give that particular perspective. So, the books பார்த்த books எல்லாத்தையும் எடுத்துட்டு சம்மரைஸ் பண்ணோம் அப்படின்னா all the way from Robert Iger to Louis Gerstner in his book Who Says Elephant Cannot Dance, இது எல்லாத்தையும் எடுத்துட்டு just read a small summary on what they think as the great leaders. Great leaders roll up their sleeves, tackle problems, they don't hide behind the storm. ஏதாவது ஒரு பேட் நியூஸ் இருக்கு, ப்ராஜெக்ட்ல ஒரு பெரிய பிரச்சனை இருக்கு, கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் ப்ராஜெக்ட் பயங்கரமான டிலே இருக்கு, கீழே இருக்க ஸ்டாஃபை போட்டு நீ போய் அப்டேட் பண்ணு, டெஸ்டிங்ல ஒரு பயங்கரமான ரிலீஸ் ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு, மேனேஜரே வர மாட்டாரு, he'll send somebody else to update. So that is not a typical behavior of a leader. They tackle problems personally. It's about both strategic and tactical. You have to have proper vision, communicate them effectively, and this is very important. Of all the characters, passion is what it says as the topmost trait for a successful leader. Successful leaders have passion for winning. So you have to have passion for what you do, and your passion has to win consistently. So winning has to become a part of your life. In a sense, whatever activity you do it for passion, and you have to have that passion for winning. Failure may happen. Philosophically பேசலாம், failure is the lesson எல்லாமே, but passion has to be always towards winning and whatever activities you do. Once you do that, you will automatically evolve as a great leader. And the crisis management. Last I have I think a couple of stories on what the crisis management is all about. One of the character I see a lot with some of our leaders is panic. Whenever things go slow, in the sense whenever our pessimism மோசமா வருது, கம்பெனில ஒரு லே ஆஃப் நடக்குது அப்படின்னா everybody starts behaving in a panic mode. Oh, போச்சு எல்லாமே போச்சு, end of the world. COVID starts, end of the world. Economy slows down, end of the world. There is nothing called end of the world. Human race always marches ahead. We'll solve problem, we'll move ahead, and we will create some impact, right? So that the negativity or pessimism is another major thing. So these are some of the examples. I think we have running out of time. I'll skip this one. I'll share the slides. But these are good case studies from Andy Grove and Jack Welch. How they transform their companies from a leadership perspective. Particularly the case, maybe I can just run this one. OKR கேள்விப்பட்டீங்களா? object smart goals or evaluation na OKR, objective key results. And he is the guy who framed this term devil is in the detail. Andy Grove from Intel. Again, he is the one who transformed Intel from loss-making company to a profit-making entity with a long-term survival. Other the story ரொம்ப பிடிச்சிருந்துச்சு our storyல. So Gordon Moore is his boss before Andy Grove became the CEO of Intel. So they were into memory business. Essentially, the chip that was the major huge amount of losses because globally lot of companies and companies they started venturing into memory and it became more like a commodity. So Intel didn't want to be in that particular business, but they cannot come out because almost 70% of revenue for Intel came from memory business at that time. So Andy Grove and Gordon Moore were discussing one day. In the business விட்டு நம்ம வெளியே வரணும், இது எத்தனை நாள் தள்ளி போட்டே இருக்க போறேன்னு சொல்லி indecision was affecting the morale of employees and they were really afraid of the future. அப்போ வந்து ஆண்டி வந்து he asked Mori, and மூட்டை கேட்குறாரு லைக் நம்ம 2 பேரையும் கம்பெனி வெளியே தூக்கிட்டாங்க, கம்பெனி லாஸ்ல இருக்கு. Let's say we are kicked out of the company, new CEO comes into the company. What do you think the first thing that the CEO will do? Then he says he would get us out of the memory business. So instead of somebody else coming out, kicking us out, we can be doing it by ourselves. So the hidden message of the story is changes will be forced on you. So unless you voluntarily take that particular change, you transform yourself, automatically somebody will kick you out and make you that particular change. Sometimes it may be very detrimental, in the sense of bad effect out over the change. So always be open for that particular change so that you'll be able to adapt the new changes. So last one, the roller coaster ride. So even that, as I said, it's not purely about the entrepreneurs. It's not purely about the startup companies. Everyone, particularly I empathize a lot with women. They go through this particular stuff and they balance both the personal life as well as the professional life. Every day is a roller coaster ride. So morning you'll be so happy you got a new project signed. Afternoon somebody will be cancelling the order. Next day you would have got some notice from GST, paying some tax in it. Microsoft will send a notice stating you have to pay your license. So these things keep coming, the problems keep coming. One day you'll be so happy, next day you'll be so bad. You'll have such a bad emotion. You'll be thinking, hey, the business gone wrong. Why should not I worked in, you were just stayed there, live a happy life. And then after the Facebook log in, jolly international trip photo. I was in cruise for 5 days. So these things happen, right? So you'll be going through these ups and downs, and these ups and downs has to be confined within yourself. In a sense, you have really well, and you have to understand this is part of the journey, and it doesn't happen only to you. In the sense, if you self sympathy சொல்றாங்கல்ல, நமக்கு மட்டும் தான் இந்த பிரச்சனை நடக்குது, மற்ற எல்லாரும் நல்லா இருக்காங்கன்னு நினைச்சோம்னா, if you go to others, they'll also be going through the same set of problem to their particular scale. And life, everyone goes through their vicious circle, and the things happen for a purpose, right? So same thing, your journey will be going up and down, and there is no meaning in complaining about this particular roller coaster, right? And do not become a bad news headquarters. Bad news headquarters என்னோட பழைய பொலி ஒரு கேள்வி பண்ணுவோம். ஸோ அந்த ஸ்டேஜ் இருக்கிற நைட்டு தான் தோணுச்சு. என்னன்னா, we'll have some major release to the client, and this guy will walk from some other office. Everything is broken, the whole code is broken, no reports are working. வரப்பே உள்ள அப்படியே ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டே வருவாரு. நம்மளே அப்பதான் கோட ஷிப் பண்ணலாம்னு போயிருப்போம், எல்லாத்தையும் மெயில அனுப்பி சென்ட கிளிக் பண்ணுவோம். We have seen lot of people who would always spread the negative news, pessimistic opinion. பார்த்தாலே பயமா இருக்கும். அதான் ரிலீஸ் அன்னைக்கு அவங்க பார்க்கவே மாட்டாங்க, அதான் காஃபி ஷாப்ல உட்காந்து பேசிட்டு உள்ள வந்துடும். We see lot of similar people, right? So crisis management and this avoiding this pessimistic mindset, that is really critical for leadership. Not only leadership, for entrepreneurship, for individuals, for whoever it is. Unless you have that particular mindset, you'll be completely doomed, because always you look at the negative thing in everything. ஒரு சின்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள் மட்டும் முடிச்சிடுறேன். எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிச்ச கேஸ் ஸ்டடி, இந்த 1982 ஸ்டோரி ஆஃப் ஜான்சன் அண்ட் ஜான்சன் டைலினால். கேஸ் ஸ்டடி என்ன அப்படின்னா, 1982ல டைலினால் டேப்லெட் கேள்விப்பட்டீங்க, சம்திங் சிமிலர் டு டோலோ 650. நம்ம சாப்பிட்றோம்ல கோவிட் சாப்பிட்ற டோலோ 650 மாதிரி. So they were selling this Tylenol through their retail store. Storeல வந்து they have been selling this particular tablet, and 12 people died after consuming Tylenol, and they did some biopsy and they found out they have died because of a cyanide infection. So the biopsy report showed they have cyanide infection, and that happened because of taking this particular tablet Tylenol. So there was a global became a global issue, because you take a small tablet, Dolo 650 mg tablet, and it creates death. It became a huge hue and cry across different media. So came all the way to Johnson & Johnson, and the Johnson & Johnson CEO at that time, he didn't hide, he didn't run away, he immediately met the press. He said, we are interrogating this particular issue, we'll get back to you. And then he sent across his team. And one best thing he did is, he recalled all Tylenol tablets from different hospitals as well as different stores. He said, anybody who has Tylenol, they can send it back, we will repay. At that time, I think it was around $500,000 or something, even for that marketing campaign to be done, stating that you can resend Tylenol back to us. So he was ready to take that particular blame, and then he called back all Tylenol, he got it back. And then they did some research, and then they found out it's not because of the manufacturing issue. Somebody at that specific store, they manually went and then they added that cyanide into that particular tablet. And that led to the invention of capsules. From capsules, the plate is இது மாதிரி இருக்குல்ல, அந்த சில்வர் டீ whatever be the material, ஓபன் பண்றோம், plus box என்னால மேல ஒரு கவர் இருக்குல்ல. This event led to the invention of that particular stuff. அது முடிய வந்து it came in a bottle, people can just like that open, take the tablet and they can eat. But அதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த seal concept வந்து it came after the Tylenol story. the message of the story is when the crisis happens, immediately the CEO can hide, immediately the company can say it's not our responsibility. Somebody has done something at the store, it's not our responsibility. We don't even care about that particular stuff. No. The whole company, Johnson Johnson CEO, he took personal ownership of that particular problem. They conveyed a message: we are here for the safety of the people. We are here for the wellness of the people. So that particular message gave a real good reputation for Johnson Johnson as a pharma company, and still Tylenol is one of the most popular pharma brand. If at all they have hidden that particular story, but Tylenol illam poirukum. And that's second example, Volkswagen emission. Very recent right? Everybody knows this particular story. Volkswagen emission they did a software screw up. In the sense that they did a software hacker that will hide emission issues within their vehicles. So any vehicle that comes out of Volkswagen factory will always be cleared for emission. So they were doing this using their software manipulation, and a lot of cars are getting sold. Somebody, whistleblower, raised that particular issue. They are doing some manipulation with that particular vehicle. So this is what it is. Volkswagen CEO hide that particular issue. He said nothing is happening. Second day he says something has happened. Third day he said we are hiring 300,000 employees. Why? Because there will be some financial implication. Fourth day he did keep doing lot of bad things. It entirely affected the reputation of Volkswagen as a company in Europe. Will be easy environmental emission there, but in Germany they are really specific on environmental control, so that became a huge issue. So it's all about how you handle crises, how you handle these sort of turbulences. That will make a huge difference between who is a great leader and who is a scientific, right? The last one, tiny hacks. As I said, I don't want to say any advices or something. This is what you should do once you move out of that particular room. But through my learning, some of the characters that I found in the last 10 years or 20 years of overall experience from the early days is really critical. Never ever compromise on your integrity, your ethical values. You may think people are growing because of shortcuts. You may think people are growing because of unfair practices, but that will not take you in the long run. So integrity is really critical. Leadership is not about people management. Don't worry about the tag. Don't worry about number of people. That is not leadership. And find a role model around you to try and emulate. Imitation is an autobahn to success. So this is one real interesting concept. Whenever you cannot invent something, at least imitate. If at all you are not that, at least fake. Fake until you make it. So once you start faking someone, over the role model, or if you start faking, you will automatically become you, right? Don't take a wrong model. But you can take some real good role models around you, and you can try to emulate and build habits that help you build a personality. A lot of us are really finding it challenging to build habits. So autopilot habit all the way from starting brushing in the morning to our regular habits. But as a meaning, you need to have some extra habits that are recurring behavior that is part of your life. For example, working out daily, exercise, reading something, meditation, or talking to some colleagues. In fact, you may have some passion, you may have some inclination towards something. That should become part of your habit. Unless you have a habit, the professional life will be completely screwed up. It's not like the personal life is different and professional life is different. Unless you do not have a proper personal life, your professional life will go for a huge loss. And last one, this is something that I really believe in. Start everything small, tiny, atomic. There's a book called Atomic Habits. If you want to do something, if you want to start practicing something, don't think really big. Like from tomorrow I will run for 10 kilometers. From tomorrow I will start eating really healthy. I eat only this. Never it is going to happen. Tomorrow you can walk for 10 minutes. Day after tomorrow you can walk for 12 minutes. Next week you can walk for 15 minutes. That is the realistic progression of the human mindset. That is why it will become a habit. If you think something really big, then everything will go for a challenge. Ranju, again, not advice, but these are the things that have helped us in our transformation. I learned in the last 10 years. That's it.
Prem, I have an observation to make. Yeah. Previous session was BTech in electrical. Your session was an MBA. And what touches me most, you spoke from your heart based on your experiences, suitably blending all the IBMs and Intels and Johnson and Johnson, which is superb, inspirational. Hats off.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have any questions to Prem?
What is the slogan for being, managing all the emotional ups and downs in like your journey? I've done this question.
Yeah, I didn't get your question.
My question is, day you feel like, come on, let's stop this, let's drop our pen, we'll go back to the way, to the fixed box, what you have mentioned it. And how do you steadily ensure that you are standing on the growth box always?
Always, right? That's I say agreed. We'll always be pushed. Now there in that fixed mindset at regular interval. One thing is we have to keep auditing ourselves at a regular basis. What I have been doing, where I have been spending most of my emotions, where I have been spending most of my time. So once you start auditing your day-to-day daily activity, what you have been doing, where your major activity has been going on, then you will learn. Second thing is people. If you talk to the people who are reporting to you, or if you talk to the people surrounding you, your family members, they will give excellent insights on where you are going wrong. My son always gives real good insights on how well I manage my professional life. He always say, "Nappa, நீ கால் போன எப்படி பேசிட்டு இருந்த? நேத்து ஆபீஸ்ல இருந்து வந்தனே கோவப்பட்ட அப்புறம் அந்த கால் ஆபீஸ்ல பிரச்சனை." They easily take that particular cue, right? Because that shows we are sharing our emotion at home after our work. So the moment you start getting some feedbacks from people around you, then automatically you take a course correction. The second thing is when I get sales, the career பிரச்சனை வரும். Sales, I take care of sales and marketing for my company. So suddenly there will be some very bad patches where we don't make any sale at all. So only thing I cannot go and shout at people. Only thing I can go is go talk to them, understand why it's happening. So the moment you start talking to the team, then obviously you will get some insights where things are going. So end of the day, it's all people who can coach you.
So how do you carry the persistence? I mean, you have to be persistent with the growth things, right? That mindset should be there always. Any humans, for example, anybody in that line, everybody will go for an emotional cues. So persistence is the only way where we can, succeed into the next stage. But emotions cause you or push you always. Sometimes, most of the times they push you to the negative side as well.
Right.
So what is your slogan on that?
See, for that I'll say, experience like may not be good, but morning hours are really critical to manage your emotions. Morning hours, we start our day a bit early, for example, let's say you start your day by 6 or something in the morning. At least the next 2 hours will be just for you. That is when you can control your emotions really well, where you can ponder about the previous day, you can think about the plans for that particular day. No interruptions, nobody will come and then உங்களுக்கு கஷ்டம் family இருக்கும் plus kids ready பண்ணணும். But if at all you get that additional 1 hour where there are no external disturbances, for example, ஒரு நல்ல walk போறீங்க 1 hour, nobody is going to talk to you, don't take your phone, just you walk by yourself, you will be able to visualize the whole day, how things are going to come, how things were on the previous day, what you are going to do on that particular day. On the day, you will be always focusing on 2 or 3 things that you want to accomplish. If at all you can focus on those 3 things, if at all you get that thing done, all those other things will be gone by itself. நம்மளால கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ண முடியாதுங்கிறது நம்ம ஒரி பண்ணணும்னு போயிடும். நம்மளால கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ண முடிஞ்சது 3 தான் பண்ண முடியும். நீங்க போனா ஒரு ப்ரொபோசல் எழுதலாம், ஒரு கிளையண்ட்ட பேசலாம், சேல்ஸ் டீம்ட்ட பேசலாம். யூஎஸ்ல நீங்க எக்கானமி ஸ்லோ டவுன் ஆகி நிஃப்டி பயங்கரமா டிராப் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா I cannot do anything, right? Why should I bother about that? I'll do what I can control. அதுக்கு if you can plan for a day, then that will be.
Whether you become entrepreneur or entrepreneur, whether you created the practice of reading a lot of books actually. That's something very very clearly visible. How you cultivated the habit actually? Because I don't know whether it's a small step. It seems to be one of the tiny steps what you highlighted. Probably that sharing will really help.
Sure. See, again I took this from another book. This guy Jay Shetty. It's one of the popular. I have read that book. Okay. Think like a monk. One thing that he gave is time to live. The morning routine. So morning routine, he says, always have 4 things in your morning routine. One is you have to be really grateful for that particular day, for the previous day, whatever has happened. Always look at the positive things that has happened for you on the previous day and what you can look forward in that particular day. நம்ம என்ன செய்யறோம், மார்னிங் எழுந்திரிச்சோடனே மொபைல் ஃபோனில் மெயில் பார்த்தோம்னா சுருன்னு மண்டையில் ஏறிக்கும். எவ்வளோ ஒரு மெயில் போட்டுருப்பான், என்னடா இப்படி நினைக்கிறாங்க, இப்படி இருக்காங்களே சொல்லிட்டு சுருன்னு ஏறும். That will affect your mindset for the whole day. Most of you will have experienced that. Don't take your phone at least for 1 hour or 2 hours from the morning. 6 ஆரம்பிச்சா 8 வரை, nothing is going to change in the world. நீங்க எவ்வளோ பெரிய பிசினஸ் மேனா என்ன க்ரோர்ல ஏர்ன் பண்ணாலும் அந்த 2 ஹவர்ஸ்லாம் because look at people, நான் தான் சொல்றேன், let's imitate others. கலைஞர் ஆரம்பிச்சு, கலைஞர் is one of the role model. He gets up at 4, got up, not gets up. He got up at 4 a.m. in the morning. He had those 2 beautiful hours where he did all those activities. If you look at all these people that we talked about, they had that morning hour. So on the 6 o'clock பண்றப்ப என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, be thankful and be insightful. Read something small. நான் மார்னிங் எத்தனா 15 minutes 30 minutes என்ன நினைக்கிறோம்னா, புக் படிக்கணும் அப்படின்னா புக்கை ஃபுல்லா உட்காந்து படிச்சுட்டே இருக்கணும், நிறைய படிக்கணும்னு பார்க்குறோம். 5 பக்கம் படிச்சா என்ன தப்பு? 5 பக்கம் ஒரு நாளைக்கு மார்னிங் 5 சாயங்காலம் 5 7 நாள் படிக்கிறீங்க, 70 pages. ஒரு புக்கு 200 பேஜ் இருந்துச்சுன்னா ஒரு வீக்ல நீங்க ஆல்மோஸ்ட் 2 புக்கு படிச்சு 2 வீக்ஸ் ஒரு புக் படிச்சு முடிச்சிட மாட்டோமா? நம்ம என்ன நினைக்கிறோம் புக்கு படிக்கணும்னா ஐயோ பயங்கர பெரிய ஒரு ஸ்கூல் பசங்க மாதிரி நினைக்கிறோம் புக்கெல்லாம் எடுத்து படிக்கணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஸ்மால் ஹேபிட் 5 பக்கத்தில் ஆரம்பிச்சிங்கன்னா ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கலி பிகம் 10 books. செகண்ட் இஸ் எக்ஸசைஸ். கண்டிப்பாக வந்து யூ ஹேவ் டு டூ சம் ஃபிசிக்கல் ஆக்டிவிட்டி, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, சம் எக்ஸசைஸ், மெடிடேஷன். ஸோ இதெல்லாம் சேர்த்து தான் இஸ் டைம். தேங்க்ஃபுல், இன்சைட்ஃபுல், மெடிடேட் அண்ட் எக்ஸசைஸ். இந்த 4 ஆக்டிவிட்டிக்கு எல்லாம் சம் பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்னா ஓவராலாக ஒரு 1 hour 30 minutes ஆகும். But that will make a huge impact on your rest of the day. And the other important thing is, other interesting thing is you have to always measure what you want to do. Unless you measure, unless you track, you'll never do. Exercise panuma, you have to invest on a watch. Book read panuma, you have to keep buying books and it is continuously available. நம்ம என்ன நினைக்கிறோம்னா படிக்கிறப்ப புக் வாங்கிக்கலாம்னு சொல்லி புக்கு உங்கள் கண்ணுக்கு முன்னாடி பார்த்துட்டே இருக்கும். ஏதாவது நிறைய இடத்துல அந்த புக் இருந்தாலும் யூ கோ பிக் தட் படிக்கிற புக். பெட்ரூம்ல ஒரு புக் இருக்கணும், ஹாலில் ஒரு புக் இருக்கணும், எல்லா இடத்தையும் புக்கு சிதறி கிடக்கணும். அப்படின்னா இட் வில் கால் யூ. அப்படி இல்லைன்னா நம்ம ஏதாவது ஓரத்தில் ஒழிச்சு வச்சிட்டோம் அப்படின்னா இட்ஸ் குட் ஹேபிட். குட் ஹேபிட்ஸ் ஹேவ் டு பி எக்ஸ்பிளிசிட். பேட் ஹேபிட்ஸ் ஹேவ் டு பி ஹிடன். சீரட்டை மறைச்சு வைக்கணும், புக்கை வந்து இல்லை அப்படின்னா சீரட்டை நான் விட்டேன் மறைச்சு வச்சதான் சீரட்டை விட முடியும். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி திஸ் மார்னிங் 1.5 hours இஸ் ரியலி கிரிட்டிக்கல். ஐ ரியலி பெக் யூ, யாராவது ஒருத்தர் இஃப் அட் ஆல் யூ வாண்ட் டு இம்ப்ரூவ், திங்க் ஆஃப் திஸ் மார்னிங் அவர். த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் 1 hour, 1.5 hours in your morning. Don't take phone, don't check your emails. Do some activity and start something really, really small. எதுவுமே வந்து எக்ஸசைஸ் பண்ண சொன்னோடனே நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி ஒரு மணி நேரம் ஓடினீங்கன்னா இந்த ஜிம்முக்கு தான் டிசம்பர் முடிஞ்சோடனே ஜான்வரியில் எல்லாம் பார்த்தா கூட்டமாக இருக்கும். ஜிம்முக்கே போக மாட்டேன் நான் ஜான்வரியில். பிப்ரவரியில் போனால் எவனுமே இருக்க மாட்டேன். ஜிம்மு பழைய பண்ணி காப்பாங்க அந்த கதையை. ஸோ சும்மா 10 minutes jogging, 10 minutes reading, 5 minutes meditation.
Sir, one small thing. Regarding the mindset when you speak about the entrepreneurship, so everyone will think that like there is a risk that is being going to be faced. So what is the backup mindset also an entrepreneur should have to have it? If I fail, so because it's not only going to affect us, it's also going to affect our family and the financial status and other things. So what is the thing that how you want to, suppose when it is the right time for me to dive in, so you find it. Suppose after diving I failed, so what is the thing that I have to take immediately? So what's your take on this?
Okay. See, most of us are professionals actually. If you look at the common people, they don't have any education. They just buy some money on a loan and they start their own business. But in our case, all of us are professionals. We have some educational background. We can always get back to job. So jumping on entrepreneurship is not a huge risk for a country of ours. Now, our family support us. But the US thought the company their parents are not going to support. Nobody is going to give money. Friends are not going to support. But at least here we have a proper ecosystem. If at all you fail, again you have some contact. Again you have some work experience where you can get back to that particular job. And entrepreneurs are always respected in a sense. If at all you go with particular tag, I ran a company, I failed because of that particular reason. The chances of getting a job again is not a huge risk. Negative obviously you will get some job. Vikram for the comments on the plan B the plan B is to make plan A work. When you start, obviously plan A will happen actually. It will always happen. It's not like it's all about mindset. Obviously the part A will happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The other team is waiting outside, so let's close it. I was thinking, what was the takeaway for me to thank Prem? அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறப்ப தான் that reminds me of வடிவேலு காமெடி. இப்போ நான் என்ன சொல்றது அப்படின்ற மாதிரி slide after slide is packed with lot of messages. சார் சொன்ன மாதிரி you spoke from your heart. And, many real life examples, many stories. I personally need at least some time to digest whatever you have just told us. ஒரே வார்த்தையில் சொல்லணும் இந்த presentation பார்த்தீங்கன்னா wow, it's exceptionally phenomenal presentation. Thank you so much for being with us for 3 hours, Mr. Prem. Thank you. We are glad to have you here. Now I request Mr. Parvez to
கொஞ்சம் ரெஸ்ட் பண்ற மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு. வேகமா வேற பேசுவேன், அதனால கொஞ்சம் ரெஸ்ட் பண்ணுறேன்.
next time அந்த மதுரை ஒரு 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. PDU, I'll process it in a day or two, but please sign if you have not signed yet. Please a great rest of the